We are the champions, guys. We are the champions. Live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios. You are tuned into Birds of a Feather, live here on A2D. First half brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, our certified public accountant. Make them yours, Gibson Mayer. Our poll question on this beautiful, beautiful day, brought to us by Scanzano Sports, scanzanosports.com. Guys, what was your favorite moment of Super Bowl 52? And I'm sure there's going to be more than even we have listed, but we got the 4th and goal TD pass, Philly, the Philly special from Nick Foles, the game-winning TD to Zach Ertz, Malcolm Jenkins' hit on Brandon Cooks, or something else. Lots of moments to take from this, guys. But
I would say the answer is yes.
Yes.
Everything.
All of them.
All of it.
All of them. Guys, it happened. We talked about it for weeks here, and we've been talking about it for months that this was going to happen, that there was a strong possibility that this would happen. Tom's been calling it. Tom ran up and down his street after the Carolina game, taking a selfie saying, I'm running abroad now. This is it, guys. Your Philadelphia Eagles are the 2017 Super Bowl champions. First in the organization's history.
It's just, no, because that breath, because I was it, because it's like.
We got there. It happened. And that's
still unbelievable.
That was a collective sigh of relief.
Yes.
That all these years, 57, 58 years from the last title in 1960, before it was a Super Bowl, only team to ever beat Vince Lombardi in the playoffs. The curse of Lombardi is done. And it's here, guys. So how do you feel?
Charles?
You want me to start? You sure?
I don't know if I can handle it, but yeah, bring it on.
Oh, my God. Guys, like, I'm on – you know how people say I'm on cloud 9?
And I'm going to tell you right now, real quick, there's a lot of Philly specials already flying.
Yeah, let's go.
Facebook chat, guys.
This episode's for you. We just want to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah, listen.
This is celebration time, guys.
We have a quote-unquote structure of the show, but we're throwing that out the window. We're going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Because this is about the Super Bowl. I do want to say real quick before I get your thing in, we did say there is breaking news that we're going to mention, but we're not talking about that till later in the show because this is about us. But Josh McDaniels has turned down, after being announced the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts earlier today, he has turned down that job, rescinded accepting that deal, and is now returning to New England as the offensive coordinator. Now, it has been announced just seconds ago, Bill is definitely coaching 2018. But beyond, there's a lot to talk about. We've been reading the details. We'll break that down a little bit later in the show. But, guys, this is our moment. This isn't Indianapolis. This isn't the New England Evil Empire's moment. This is our moment. So I apologize for interrupting, but I wanted to jump that in there.
All good.
Get in there, Charles. Let's hear what you got to say,
brother.
As
I was saying, you know, people say they're on cloud 9. I'm on, like, cloud 99. 999.
And, again, as he says it, Mark Hooven says cloud 10.
Yeah. My boy
I love
Mark.
it. We're all on the same page, guys.
God.
There's a cloud. It's way the hell up there. We're all on it together.
Oh, my gosh. I've been in the city since Sunday. I was in the city for the celebration right after we won. I've spent the past few days in Center City just walking around. Guys, like, the whole city. There's not a negative vibe in the whole city. And those of you that live in Philly, you know what I'm talking about. Everyone is just so happy. There's
an energy in the city right now.
There's energy, happiness, and just a unity in the city that we all knew was going to happen one day if we finally won, and it's here. And I'm telling you, my experience, like on Broad Street after we won, you can have all those reports about the fires and all of that. Yeah, that happened, sure, but did that represent most of what happened during the celebration? No.
Hey, listen, the University of Massachusetts rioting after losing had a lot more incidents and arrests than what we had.
Exactly. So. Exactly. I'm telling you, that celebration is something
bunch of schmucks.
I am never going to forget that night. That night is something that will be etched in my memory, in my brain for the rest of my life. that will always have a special place in my heart. And like I'm getting choked up because
Charles.
Fucking sorry, but like seriously, like it means, and I'm sure what's beautiful is that I know all of you out there feel the same way. It means so much. So much.
I mean, I was so super pumped, but it didn't hit me until yesterday. I don't even remember what I was watching. It was just yesterday was a blur. And it was just something I was watching. It might have even just been Nick Foles at, like, the Disney parade talking. And I'm like, I think it was literally watching the Disney commercial. I'm going to Disney World.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, my God, our quarterback, our fucking team is in this. And it hit me. And I'm like, we won the freaking Super Bowl. Like, that's when it hit me, like, really strong. And I –
dude, it's still –
I can't even put it in words.
It still hasn't even like hit me yet. Like it's still like it's funny because like you saw like the last play of the game, like all the defensive backs are kind of like, wait, is that was zero? Like when the Hail Mary hit the ground, everyone's like, wait, that's zero? Like they weren't. And that's how like I felt. I'm like, wait, so that's it, right? Like like wait, no, really? And it's like you said, like everything, and like even I'm seeing Nick Foles on a friggin' float with Mickey Mouse, and I still like it's just not. I feel like I'm not in reality right now. It just feels like it's just not real. Like it's insane. Like I still feel like at some point I'm going to be awoken. I mean, I had a few adult beverages that evening, so like maybe I'm just still in this stupor and I still haven't awoken yet. Like I don't know. Like it's insane.
Kevin Johnson said the Disney commercial got him too.
Yeah.
It's just one of those staples of the Super Bowl, and it's never been something that we've seen with our guys.
The pure joy, too. Like when Nick Foles says it, the pure joy in his face and the way it's just like, oh, my God. That's the biggest striking thing to me with like all these players is just like this look of just pure, like, I don't know if you guys watched Kimmel last night.
Oh,
with Ajayi and Clement.
Oh. How perfect was that? That was
when he
so great.
When they're talking about Foles, and then he's like, oh, you guys heard he got traded an hour ago, right? And they were like, what? Clement was like, I was about to tell you I got to go and make a phone call. Oh, my God. It was so brilliant. But
and it just like, but like what I noticed was there's like they had smiles like that were not coming off their faces. Like it's just an unbridled joy. It's so cool to see.
Ryan, before we get to Facebook, I want to hear from you, brother.
You know, it's so funny because like you, Paul, you know, it really hasn't set in for me yet. I did a show last night, and I thought, you know, driving there, because like I've been saying, you know, there's a little bridge that I go over about 5 minutes from here where you can see the city. And it usually, like, for example, the week I got back from North Carolina and I drove over that bridge, that's when it hit me that, oh, my God, we're going to the Super Bowl. And I thought it was going to set in when I was doing that show last night. I was looking back on that show. I'm clearly still in a blur. I'm like, so to me, it's not going to set in until we get to this parade on Thursday. It's not going to.
That's gonna hit me big at that.
That's gonna hit us all.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know. I hope. I guess that's what's gonna happen is when I'm just in a sea of other Eagles fans and the players coming by and just like again like unbridled joy they're all gonna have on their faces.
Everything just seems firsthand. So much better today. Like my little quirky pre-show ritual is I eat Smurf gummies.
Oh, they're so good too.
But you know what?
I never even heard of
they're delicious on their own. But today they taste like a winner. They taste fantastic. It's exponentially enhanced, guys, because we're the fucking champions of the world.
And you know, it's so funny because when we talk about joy, I mean, I don't even know if the word joy can really sum it up. I don't know what it is because I don't know about you guys, you know, sitting here. I don't know about the people at home, and I would love to know, you know, if they agree with this or, you know, if they had the same feeling. But for years, I would spend time watching the Eagles or just thinking about the Eagles and thinking, like, what's it going to feel like when we finally win one? Mm-hmm. And I always mapped out a picture in my head about, like, okay, it would feel this way. I would do this. Oh, I would do this. I would say this afterwards. And none of that happened because you can't plan for a feeling like that. No. And, you know, it's so funny. And there's so many silver linings to it. There's so many storylines. But it's like I remember looking at Patriots Super Bowls, just the Patriots team. I would look at the Seahawks going against them, and I would always think, and I wouldn't root for the Seahawks, but I would think it would be nice to see someone else win this. I would look at the Falcons, and I would think, man, it would be nice for someone else to win this. And I would always think, like, who's going to dethrone the Patriots? And it's been us. It's us. And after all this time, it's been us all along. It's complete vengeance for 2004, 2005. It's the complete vengeance to all the bad things that happened to us this season. It took every storyline that's ruined us as a fan base, as an organization, and it wrapped it all up and it put a bow on top of it. And anyone that wanted to call us trash for years and years and years and all this time, called us losers, anything, you can only call us champions now. And it feels so damn good. Mm-hmm. It's so freaking special, and words cannot even describe it.
And what's so great about it, too, two things. I mean, everybody just became a fanboy. You saw guys like Kevin Hart, Bradley Cooper, Will Smith. The Kobe Bryant video was one of the best things I've ever seen. Kobe, he wasn't like Kobe, the great basketball player. He was
the
Kobe.
Mamba. The Mamba was like,
he was like Kobe fanboying out, and that was one of those things get you so freaking pumped.
Deion Waiters.
Deion
Waiters.
Yeah, Deion Waiters crying. Yeah.
Kyle
Anthony Towns.
Oh, my God.
I mean, all these things were fantastic. And then, you know what? Let's talk about this. We're not a losing city. Let's not forget that we just won an NCAA title 2 years ago. That's no easy feat. Oh, by the way, we got the best team in the nation right now who has a shot at possibly winning another NCAA title. All right? We got the Sixers on the rise. The Phillies are now in the right direction. The Flyers are building something there to get into that direction and start building. Like, this is just the tip of the iceberg, boys.
Yeah.
There's a lot. And for a city that has had so much grief over the years, this team alone gives you so much to look forward to over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
But even them aside, there's other bright spots in this city. Tomorrow, it's going to be the coming out party for the city of Philadelphia becoming a winning city. Becoming Title Town, guys.
It's so crazy because – I mean, you know how superstitious I am. I mean, I would explain it to you guys before shows. You know, I was telling you, Chrome, how nuts I am, in that game where I wouldn't move a Charger. Like, guys, I didn't see my freaking couch on game day for 6 months. I didn't see my couch. Like, I can go back to watching games, not worrying about what's bad is going to happen.
Right.
Not thinking the storyline's going to be, how did they lose this one?
Yeah.
The storyline's going to be, how are they going to win this one?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Social media is blowing up right now. I'm going to hit YouTube, or I'm going to hit Facebook. You'll hit YouTube after.
Let's get it.
Kevin Gerhardt, oh, yeah, baby. I think that was the Adam Cole. Baby! Kimberly Wallace, what's up, Kimberly? Get down, boys. Mark Hooven, woo. Woo! Woo! Frank Vespi, sup, guys. The GOAT of intros has returned. That was a good call on you, Ryan.
I had to resurrect it.
To answer the poll question, I'm going to say typical Frank Vespi answer and say all of them. Frank, we said the same thing, so you're all good, buddy. Right. Mark Hooven says, nice hat, Charles. Kimberly Wallace, Philly special. Kevin, Philly special. Gina chiming in. Gina Rambo, Philly special. James Wilder, the clock hitting 00 of the fourth quarter in Super Bowl 52 is my favorite moment. Hell yeah.
Yep.
Mark Hooven says, Brandon Graham strip sack. This was a dude that we were about to give up on, and he had an amazing year and made the Eagles' defensive play of the year. I agree. I mean,
to me, that's
he was hurt.
This what's the coolest thing other than the obvious of just winning it? Think about all the guys on this team that were like cast-offs or
so many
people down, like the big Brandon Graham. Oh, we didn't take Earl Thomas. We took Brandon Graham. Well, guess what? Seattle's got a Super Bowl. We got a Super Bowl. So Earl Thomas might he can't stay healthy. Yeah. Then you have a guy like Nelson Aguilar, who everyone was ready to give up on after last year. He had a hell of a Super Bowl.
I was ready to give up.
Oh my gosh!
Most people were, and Chrome, you weren't alone. 90% of the city was ready to give up.
I ate my crow on Saturday.
But yeah,
you know what?
Everybody had to. Everybody.
It was deserved.
He didn't play. I agree with that.
Yes.
But then, Vaitai is a guy that I ripped relentlessly. He was phenomenal in the playoffs. Phenomenal. And it's guys like LeGarrette Blount, Jay Ajayi, who were just let go by their teams because they just didn't want to have him around.
Oh, yeah.
Like, flat out. And Corey Clement, undrafted out of Wisconsin from South Jersey. Like, it's just all these stories and, like, all these guys who overcame stuff and who like Jalen Mills, again, he was 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
Like, it's just insane. Like, Patrick Robinson was cut before training camp. Everyone said it.
Yep.
And here he is playing. Like, it's unbelievable to me.
Yep. Kevin Johnson, I can't believe this day has finally come. Shaquan Jitters, Eagles all day. They don't sell no Super Bowl shirts this part of New Jersey I'm from. Brother, get him online, brother.
Yeah.
Get him.
Yeah.
You got to, or take the track down. It's well worth it. Chris Rico, the Philly special was my favorite play. Mark Hooven says, Eagles chance breaking out in the Deptford Mall.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yes.
Drew Rossman, Big Dick Nick.
Just waiting for one of those.
Kevin Johnson, I read that one. He was with me with the Disney.
Someone said that. How hilarious is it going to be when when Nick Foles is driving down Broad Street and that chant breaks out?
Mark Hooven, hearing Merrill Reese say the Eagles are Super Bowl champions choked me. I actually have not heard the voice clip of Merrill yet.
God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I know. I got to go back and listen to it. But James Wilder, that win hit me about 3 seconds after starting at 0-0. Haha, I froze, and then that was it. I lost it, jumping and screaming and cheering. Then I took a breath and cried.
Yep.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, my man. It was so today's NFL. The pass dropped. You looked for the ref's call. You made sure there were no flags. And, oh, shit, the clock says 0. That was Brian Martin.
Yeah, it's
Brian.
so true.
James Wilder, wish I could go to Broad. Oh, man, that goat tasted like victory, too.
I saw that, James.
No idea what it really tastes like. Mark Cuban says, someone FaceTime me for the parade.
Oh, he'll be at work. I work with Mark.
That's rough.
I used to work with
So
Mark.
we'll get Charles to FaceTime you, brother. Joe Miller, when we all gather at the City of Brotherly Love and see Cox hold up that trophy, I think it's going to fully hit me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Barry Selfon, rest in peace to the no ring memes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. That's a good one.
But we can hand Cowboys fans copies of the VHS from their last
Yep.
season.
Yes.
That was my favorite meme.
Yes.
Kimberly Wallace, the Philly cop video was pretty good, too. That was awesome when the two guys
Cop was
got out of the car
celebrating.
and just was like, oh, my God. And that was great. Bob Hartman, think about the NFL calendar year we've had, starting with hosting a record-setting draft and ending with a Lombardi trophy and a parade on Thursday.
Even
Absolutely.
Even before that, it kind of started with Harry Roseman's coin flip. You remember? In Indy?
Oh, yeah. You got
flip
all
for
fired up at the combine. Yeah,
and everyone was joking, like, why is he fist bumping for a coin flip? Well, now you look back on it, I mean, it is the start of our good year.
Absolutely. That's
Start
when
of
the
good luck.
the
Yeah,
tides,
it's a good way
the
to look
tides
at it. I
turned
like
with
it.
that coin toss. Gina Rambo, a friend of mine's dad ripped his shirt in half down the front, like Hulk. I imagine I'm envisioning the Hulkster right now. I love it.
That's awesome.
The shirt read, "Give me a championship before I die." What a beautiful moment that was.
That's awesome.
Fucking
Ripped
great.
it because he
That
gave
is
it to him.
great.
That's awesome.
Rob Brinkman, favorite moments was 4th and 1 and 5:52 to go.
Yeah, that's a big play to Ertz, man.
Yep.
Your sister's watching right now. Kimberly Wallace, a backup quarterback, late rounds pick. Lig rejects, and we still won. And your sister jumped in and said, favorite part was ugly crying with my brother. Oh, that's
my
sweet.
sister.
Yo, Ashley, that was a cool video,
Yeah,
man. That was
it
cool.
was
That was a
cool.
great moment for
We're
brother and
practically
sister.
twins. So I'm 4 years older than her, but if you see the picture, and we're
Yeah.
practically twins.
Ashley, before we went on, Charles was like, you could see my sister's ugly cry, too. And I was like, dude, you guys have the exact same face. So there's no surprise there. Dion, what up, fellas? Dion Brown, my man. What's
Dion
up,
Brown,
Dion? We got it done, Dion. I'm through on Facebook. I'm caught up. Let's hit YouTube.
All right, YouTube. Here we go.
My YouTube family out there.
Love you guys on YouTube. Joseph Lewis says, we fucking did it, boys.
Yes, we did.
Our birds came the fuck through. Yes, in our fucking lifetime. Now watch us get some more. I'm guessing that's what he means. Blink the Legend says, Alshon Jeffrey's first Moss S touchdown on row. It should that Foles started off like a winner. Or it should be that Foles started off as a winner.
Yeah.
Mark G says, hell yeah. Mike Woodcraft, which is my sister's
Mikey.
fiance. What's up, brother? He says Josh McDaniels, head coach 2019. Going down. Joseph Lewis comes back again, and he starts the fight song. Says "Fly Eagles Fly" on the road to victory. Jose Mary says somehow even after a Super Bowl win with a backup QB and the real league MVP on the sidelines, they are still downing us next year. What the fuck is wrong with these people? Like to the ESPN.
Listen, that
rankings,
was ESPN's
it's
stupid
ESPN.
thing.
Don't-
NFL Network put us above them where we should be.
Elliot Harrison is smart. That's just if you're gonna go off by unnecessary power rankings right now.
You know what?
Read his.
You know what, guys? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Yet another season where people count against us. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
This team has the mentality to play with that kind of adversity.
Yes.
Not that even it's not that much of adversity because you're number 2 instead of 1.
Mm-hmm.
But
and you are the defending Super Bowl champion, so it doesn't
you-
freaking matter what stupid arbitrary ranking.
Yeah.
and if you
get.
read it, it's as dumb as it sounds. It says just because they're the Patriots. That's literally what it says in there. So
Thank
if you
you,
have
ESPN.
if you have half of a brain cell, you know that it is idiotic and stupid writing.
That's why
There's
wait,
no
ESPN.
logic
that's
to
why,
it.
That's why they were supposed to win the
ESPN.
Super Bowl.
It's
right?
a
This
cop
year,
out.
right?
Exactly. It's a cop out
'Cause of the
writing
Patriots.
piece. It's something that they want to put out there to stir it up, so they could shove it up their asses.
Especially given, when we were talking about why the Patriots were going to lose this game on Sunday, given that, I don't know, they don't have a pass rush. They really don't have that much of an offensive line.
No sacks.
They have a 40-year-old quarterback.
Their
I
best
can go
pass rusher
on.
is 40 years old.
Exactly. So now they should be favorites for next year,
course.
right? I don't
Yeah,
know.
it makes
Of
a
course,
lot of sense.
ESPN logic. That's ESPN logic. All right. Oh, one of my favorite people. Be careful what you pursue. You pursue. One of the best names I've ever read on here. So, Nick Foles, a.k.a. the Goat Slayer.
Yes.
Yep.
Mark G says, only been a fan for 6 years, but this truly brought joy and man tears. Hey, it doesn't matter how long you've been a fan. If you love this team with all your heart, it doesn't matter. And I'm sure that you felt it.
What did he say?
That doesn't matter.
He's been a fan for how long?
For 6 years.
Listen, dude, I grew up a Dolphins fan because I love Dan Marino. When Marino, I didn't hate the Eagles, but I liked the Eagles. Marino retired. Donovan McNabb came into the league, and I started watching the Eagles more. And I mean, I can tell you, growing up, I never thought I would love a team more than I love the Dolphins. But this team just took me over, being a part of this city and this family that is Eagles Nation. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a fan your entire life for 20 years or you're a fan for 2 years. The ride this team took us on this year, all the adversity, all the storylines that came with everything, and not drama storylines, like just subplots of injuries and next man up and everything. And the way that this team showed is that it doesn't matter what is put in front of you, you can overcome it.
Yes. Exactly.
There's so much even deeper than the game of football to take
dude.
from this, guys.
Nick Foles, that press conference. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
That guy,
Beautiful.
he should be whenever he retires, he should be a motivational speaker. My God,
Yeah.
that was incredible.
Yeah.
That was incredible. And it wasn't like it was like a speech. Like someone asked him a question, and that was his response. And that was incredible.
And I'm not going to get a big religious thing because some people are into it, some aren't. But I didn't realize how much faith this team has and how much they support each other and believe in that in that stuff.
It pulls them together.
But exactly, and it pulled them together, and it keeps them on the right path to avoid that kind of drama and those issues. And they support each other with their faith. I saw a video today of how amazing and powerful their faith was.
Yeah.
And that shows you whether you believe or you're huge into religion or not, when you have something strong to believe in, a bond like that.
Yes.
That brings people together when
Exactly.
everybody else wants to pull them
Exactly.
Yeah,
apart.
and it's not even
It's just another layer
Exactly.
onto this team.
It's just and it's faith. Like when you say faith, it doesn't necessarily have to be a religious faith.
Right.
Just that they have guys who had faith in each other and had faith in what they were doing and the coach and the
Exactly.
organization, and they had faith as a team.
So
You know
many
what I mean?
layers.
That's,
Exactly.
yeah, and that's what it's all like. Yeah,
Exactly.
and like you said, it's a common goal will do that, and they all have one goal.
Yeah. So Damn Clutch says, I'm just so proud of everyone, our team, staff, city as a whole, and all you guys. This truly is a city win, boys. Let's embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eagles game plan says Gronk is overrated. I don't know if I agree
Well,
with
he
that,
might-
but hey, we won, so
Well, listen.
no holds barred.
Hey, it might
We
not
can
make
say
a
it.
difference next year if
Yeah,
he decides he wants to walk
retire,
away.
Yeah, which I wouldn't blame him. Chev93 says Philly special, boys. Woo!
Woo!
Yep.
Let me say, too, about Gronk, too, because Chris Carter and Nick Wright were talking about it.
Uh-huh.
Carter thinks he might walk away and go to WWE.
Yep.
Because apparently that's a
could
see
real
that.
thing.
I could see that.
I
Yeah.
can see
They've
that.
talked to him about life after football, and he legitimately brought it up today, and he said, I wouldn't be surprised if he walks away
Yeah.
and ends up a pro wrestler.
I
So-
wouldn't be surprised either.
He's got the personality for
Yeah.
it.
I mean,
does.
concussion. He's got an issue now with concussions
Yes.
that he has to be
Yeah.
concerned about.
Very good. Yeah.
And if And truth be told, if that's something he wants to pursue, life after football, where he can still make a lot of money, he can't go into that having concussion and CTE issues. So if that's something he really wants to pursue, I mean, look how much he's done in the game of football already.
Yeah.
Right.
He could walk away as a Hall of Famer already.
Yeah.
Jonathan Griffith says Corey Clement, C squared. What a game he had.
Yeah,
the running
dude,
backs, oh my God.
Yeah, first undrafted running back in NFL history to have 100 receiving yards in the Super Bowl.
Crazy.
Wow.
It's insane. A kid from South Jersey, man.
The number of records that were broken in the Super Bowl
It's crazy.
were insane on both sides. Listen, let's give credit where it's due. I will say this. Tom Brady had a phenomenal game. Bill Belichick did not.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yup. He got out-coached. Guys, Doug Pete out-coached Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
My God.
Did.
He got out-coached. He sat Malcolm Butler, and I don't care what issues you had with Malcolm Butler, all the signs pointing that just looking at the situation as it's leaked out, seems like Bill just has so much of an ego.
He does.
He takes things way too personally. There's no excuse. If you want to sit him for the first half, I get that. But you sit your arguably best player in your secondary who's played the most snaps all season during the biggest game of the season.
Not only that.
Get out of your own way, Bill.
Yeah. The guy was gone. It was his last game as a Patriot either way. So just get through the game, and then you never had to deal with the kid ever again. It's insane.
If I'm a Patriots fan, I'm flipping out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, guys,
that's like sitting in jail. I mean, in comparison with us, that would be like sitting in Jalen Mills or Patrick Robinson, guys who played so many snaps and got you there.
Yeah.
And then we're like, no, he showed up late to a meeting, so I'm going to sit him.
He was sick. Yeah.
He was sick. He showed up a day late. He was sick.
This is a case where Doug P's culture that he established in the locker room trumped the Patriot way. Like, we always hear about the Patriot way and their culture of doing things, and everyone's all in on it. But no, this backfired on them. This totally backfired on them. Because you can't tell me it would have been a slightly – like, we still could have won, but it would have been a slightly different game. I
sincerely felt bad for the kid watching him stand on the field bawling his eyes out. You could tell, again, they just told him then.
Yeah, this was right before
Like, how do you not even let the kid know in the morning of the game? You tell him right before the game.
And that's so bad for the rest of your team.
Yeah.
That's so bad for their team. They all went in there having no idea.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You do not, especially – on Super Bowl Sunday, you do not punish the entire team because of one guy, especially given we don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
You know, there's reports going out that, you know, there was something with the coaches. There was other reports saying that he just wasn't playing well.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
It seems real petty from everything I've read.
Very petty.
When Eric Rowe was getting torched, and he was getting torched.
That's when you swallow your pride.
Yes. No, or you do what's best for your team and get him the hell out of there. Get him out of there. If Eric Rowe's playing fine, whatever, Bill. Be caught up in your feelings. Whatever. Do you. I'm not going to complain as an Eagles fan. But just as a football fan, if Eric Rowe's getting torched the entire first half, and then so on, and Malcolm Butler's still not going to see the field except for special teams, like, I feel like that was even more rubbing it in.
Special teams snap.
Yes.
One snap.
Like, don't even play him. Like, tell him to go home. Like, I don't even – if I'm him, like, I don't even want to be there.
He shouldn't have been active.
Yes.
I agree with that. Why even activate him?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so to me, that's trotting him out there in front of the team, too.
It is.
Yeah, and, like, it's like I'm saying, like, Eric Rowe wasn't prepared for that moment. Like, on Eric Rowe's defense, like, Jesus, man, you can't do that to your team.
Yeah.
Just dropped it on him right before kickoff. And then not only – but my thing is, I will say this. So as much as I agree with everything we're saying, and yes, like they might have had a better chance with Malcolm Butler in the game, Eric Rowe is taller. Alshon Jeffrey's still coming down with that damn touchdown.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I still think they win that game even
Yeah.
if Malcolm Butler's in there. The thing –
go
ahead.
No, I was just going to say, somebody asked if they're going to go Alfredo Santos Hernandez says, are they going to the White House? Kimberly says she saw a report they were declining as a team. I only saw that 3 of them declined. I don't know.
There's a rumor out there that it's the whole team.
And if it is what it is. I don't care. As long as they're on Broad Street on Thursday, I don't give a shit.
Who cares? Yeah, who
At this point, I don't care.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The comment from YouTube on Corey Clement, there's actually a funny story about that. So he's obviously he went to Glassboro High School.
I heard this too. Yeah.
So so I went to Shalleck High School.
Okay.
He played us like 6 times because him and I are the same age, you know, so we were in the same class. he was the player of the game the night of our homecoming game where I was homecoming king.
Look
like
at you.
No, like it's not even about. I'm not even saying because like it's about me, but it's just like.
I know, but that's what I'm taking.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, but you don't understand what I'm saying. Like he played us 6 times, and last 2 nights ago, he caught a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Like that's like mind blown to me because like we saw him, he was right in front of me for years.
Right.
He's not only playing the Super Bowl, he freaking caught a catch, and it's like the catch that everyone's talking about. Like he's the guy because it's the controversial catch. Whatever. Is it a catch? Not catch. Like it's not only the catch; it's the catch of the entire Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
It's crazy.
It's funny too. So I was thinking a lot about like Corey was one of the guys I was really thinking a lot about because I was there the first day of rookie camp when they were all there, and it was right before before the Eagles had actually signed like Garrett Blount.
Okay.
So everyone thought, oh man, Corey Clement's got a decent chance to make this team.
Oh yeah, I was excited about that.
Yeah, it was Darren Sproles and it was
Pumphrey.
and Pumphrey and Smallwood.
All like
that
smaller
was it.
guys. Yeah.
So everyone thought, okay, Clement's got a chance because he's a bigger back, he's a stronger back.
Oh,
he runs that power style. He's got a chance. A week, and I remember writing a story saying, oh man, he's actually got a chance. And then while I was writing the story and we were ready to publish it, they signed Garrett Blount.
Nice.
And I was like, that's it. I was like, he's done. There's no way.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, so not only does the kid make the team, he caught, 10 passes his entire career at Wisconsin? And he turned himself into a third down back. Yeah. He learned how to pass protect. He learned how to catch the football and run routes. It's it's mind-blowing. Like, to think about how far, that kid gets so much credit for what he turned himself into. And the other guy that gets credit, Deuce Staley. Deuce Staley turned that kid into a third down back who was a power running back in Wisconsin. It's insane.
So John Miller says, with all the unbelievable plays that Jenkins hit on Cooks gets overshadowed. That could have been the biggest impact on the game. Kimberly Wallace agrees and says, I agree, Johnny. Hit him like a brick house. Then she adds, my ex-husband is John. I don't think I've ever said those words before.
Oh! It's getting real up in the face of chat.
James Wilder says, at John, I think it's overlooked because it's a, quote, dirty hit due to the helmet contact. It was a clean hit. It was a shoulder lead. He didn't lead with his helmet.
And he was a runner.
And he was a runner. I actually have not heard anybody say it was a dirty hit.
Head
including
on
New
a
England people.
swivel.
Yeah, I mean,
and it was more so.
I will say this. Normally, when people say something's a dirty hit, I haven't heard anyone.
I haven't heard anything.
Nah.
Nope.
And Cooks ran into him.
Yes.
Like he no peripheral vision whatsoever.
Head on a
he
swivel.
literally just went, okay, I'm going, boom, done.
Well, Gina says helmet contact incidental. He was aiming for the chest, not the head.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it really wasn't much helmet contact.
It was
He
barely
completely
any.
led
It was
with the shoulder.
We all got to realize, too, concussions aren't necessarily just because of a head-to-head contact. It is brain.
Yeah.
It is your brain
Yeah.
moving. So if you get a
Whiplash,
jarring hit, your brain
It's
moves.
moving.
Well, if you watch that play in slow motion, it's not the helmet hit because he barely made contact.
Yeah.
It's his head bounces off the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
On the side.
Exactly.
That's what probably
concussion.
did the damage.
Exactly.
Right. I've had a concussion before.
So
believe me.
Awful.
It doesn't have to be the helmet, the
Yeah.
head-to-head contact.
Yeah.
You feel it. You feel your
impacts.
your brain jar.
Exactly.
But speaking of underrated defensive plays, Rodney McLeod
Woo!
on that jet sweep where Brandon Cooks tried to
the
hurt
power
him.
bomb. The power bomb, as
Holy
we used to
shit.
call it.
I was-
the power bomb.
The Batista power bomb. It was a Batista bomb.
I was telling them before you got here, Paulie, when that happened, I literally screamed, "Power bomb! Power bomb!"
I love it.
The Batista bomb.
But it was 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
It's a one-on-one tackle on one of the fastest players in the league who tried to hurt him. And most of the time, that shit works because you're going low on a fast player like that. McLeod stayed disciplined, kept a solid base. He tried, and he
Grabbed
did.
him.
He power-bombed his ass.
power-bombed him.
And then that leads to 4th down, and they missed the field goal. That
How
was a
big is that?
huge play.
John
Huge.
chimes in. Let's clarify. I'm not the ex-husband. LOL. I love the joy going on. So Gina brought it up. Let's talk about it. A lot of us talked about it, including Chris Long. Chris Collinsworth commentary. Awful.
Of course, it's horrible.
It
Wait,
was awful.
hold on. Can I say?
I don't hate Collinsworth.
Neither do
I do.
but it was
I do hate
bad.
Collins. Can I say?
But that's as bad of a commentary performance as I've ever seen
Yeah, it was
anybody
bad.
have.
I'm good. I'm gonna go out on a maybe hot take and say both of them. I hated both of them.
I always like Al Michaels.
No. Here we go. Al Michaels for years.
I'll never be upset listening to Al Michaels.
This is me. I love Al Michaels. I respect Al Michaels for what he's done in the past.
I mean, he's stuck with a douchebag, but
for the past few years, Al Michaels has really pissed me off because he doesn't have any intensity or enthusiasm in his calls. And then obviously Chris Collinsworth is there, and he's talking about bonehead decisions and stuff like that. Like, we all know the issue with Collinsworth. But like, to me, if I want a Super Bowl, if you're gonna, I know it's different networks and everything, it's not gonna happen. But if you want to give me, if I'm gonna pick an all-star broadcasting team, duo, Tirico, Tony Romo. I want Tirico to be now to take Al Michaels' place. Tirico, to me, is the best play-by-play guy on TV, and Tony Romo has become the best caller analyst in the game. But to what she said, yeah, Collinsworth was horrible.
But
horrible
I think it goes by preference because you have guys who are legends who like Howard Cosell was never really an overly enthusiastic. He had an amazing voice, a voice that just kind of stuck to you and you remembered it. You had guys like Jack Buck, who Jack Buck never got too high on a call on a very rare occasion, but he always kept it even keel, which is why Joe Buck announces how he does. And people don't realize that he learned from his father, and that's his father's style. So people get pissed. I have no problem with national media guys that don't get too high or too low and try to be.
Also the game, like you gotta keep in context with like.
I feel like
for some games, for some sports, right. I get it.
I personally feel like Al Michaels gets high enough though. It's not like he's just sitting monotone like this.
I don't know.
I think that he has points where there's an excitement in his voice, but that's always been his calling style.
Yeah, Al Michaels wasn't the issue.
Earlier on,
Collins sitting in with a guy like Collinsworth.
No, and it's weird too because like
it's different.
I actually, for the most part, don't mind Chris Collinsworth.
I don't either.
But like some of the things he said, I'm like, man, if you watched an Eagles game, like you're shocked that was anybody shocked that he went for it on fourth and goal right before halftime? I wasn't shocked. I wasn't remotely shocked. I expected.
I was stressed out.
Oh, of course, we're stressed out. You saw he was. Let's do it. Like that's because he's the dude has ice water in his freaking veins. But like the fact that he was like stuck, like. Yeah, it was bold, and it was a bold call to make that play, but, like, he's done that all season long.
And
That's what I expect. I'm not going to – it's funny, too, because, like, I saw so there was a really terrible column written what is his name? From the Boston Globe. He's been on – he's been in a bunch of, like, 30
Bob.
No, not Bob. I know you're thinking of Bob Ryan. It's Shaughnessy or whatever, Dan Shaughnessy.
Yeah.
Dear Lord, that guy.
He wrote this column that was just pure hot garbage, basically saying, like, Doug Peterson stands no chance in this game because Belichick is so great.
Wonderful.
And it was like,
wonderful.
And it was just like, that's what it was. It was like, again, it was like, have you watched a single, like, that's not knowing
your
anything.
Boy, your golden child, your GOAT coach got out-coached.
He did.
That's easily got out-coached. He got out-coached, and his entire coaching staff got out-coached.
Yes, they did.
So you know what? Stick that shit up your ass. Stick that up your ass. Stick Tom Brady is because he's the GOAT. We're gonna win everything up your ass. That was the best team they have ever faced in a Super Bowl, hands down. That was their worst Patriots team going against the best team, top to bottom, special teams, defense, offense, and coaching that they have ever faced in a Super Bowl.
And they got beat.
So stick it up your asses.
Exactly.
And we talked about this before the show. Like, we put out a video yesterday. Like, it was a video of the WWE wrestler Edge, and we were like, it was kind of like a message to all the haters and doubters. And it was basically a video of the guy running around being like, "You were wrong, you were wrong, you were wrong, you were wrong." And we got a lot of comments that misunderstood. They were saying like, "Oh, so anyone that picked the Patriots were idiots?" And we're not saying that by any means. Like, I don't think Chrome's saying that. Like, for me, and I'm sure for all of us, like, we're yelling at the people that wanted to create the narrative that the Eagles had no chance.
Not even that. It's people that come in with an opinion, and it's an uneducated opinion.
Exactly.
Like trying to say that, just trying to say like, oh, well, Bill Belichick, because that's so lazy. Like, oh, because Bill Belichick's a great coach. There's no way that possible that Doug Peterson could also be a great coach and that he could outcoach him. He was great all season. Yep. He didn't win it, but he was the freaking coach of the year. There's no disputing it.
That was the word.
And it's so it's just I hate uneducated opinions.
Thank
and it's
you.
okay.
Amen.
It's okay sometimes to say, hey, I don't really know about this subject, so I'm not going to comment on it. Don't write that column because you just sound stupid.
And that was the word that you used was absolutely spot on, because if you didn't say it, I was going to say it when your rant was done, which is lazy. It's lazy reporting. It's lazy writing. I'm not going to take the time to sit and actually analyze the situation.
Exactly.
I'm going to meet my deadline, and I'm going to go with what is the easiest thing to put out there.
And what people are going to come at.
And what everyone's going to say, and what you can get away with, because everyone's going to say, of course, he's the GOAT. It's the best. You're right. You got a good point. Fuck off.
Yeah. That was a little. It was like old Boston man accent. That was kind of great.
But Crow, I've said it. I've said it for weeks, for so long. Like, what drives me nuts is lazy opinions. Like, do your homework.
Hot
takes.
If
you're
That's why Kyle Brandt's rant was awesome.
Exactly.
Because he did what nobody else would do. He took facts. He very eloquently spoke those facts and was not afraid to be bold enough to go out there ahead of all those guys on that sheet that picked New England or Sheets. And he said,
It's so good.
I don't care what Tom Brady being a GOAT or Bill Belichick being a GOAT. This is a different team, and this is their time, and they are going to be a city of winners.
And
you know what?
Exactly.
He was right.
And there was another video that we posted, and a lot of people were like, oh, the only reason why you like Kyle Brandt's because he picks the Eagles. It's like, no, it's not that at all. It's because he's the one guy out of a bunch of freaking, I'm not going to call them morons, but they were morons this time of year.
They're morons. Go ahead. Say it. They're morons.
That didn't look through it through a freaking lens that the Patriots are the only team in the NFL. He actually gave him they actually gave him a shot. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. There's 3 comments I got to read, though, over here. That's from Jimmy Chonga. They're like the comments.
Oh,
of the
Jimmy
night so
Chonga. Jimmy Chonga, dude. That's the best. I love that name. It's so amazing.
The first comment he mentioned was on the topic of Collingsworth. You'll enjoy this, Chrome. We'll all enjoy this one. He said, CBS has to fire Collingsworth and hire Jim Ross. He would have called that powerbomb McLeod play so much better. Could you imagine?
My God almighty, he broke him in half.
You know what, Jimmy Chonga? You just gave me an idea, my friend.
He powerbombed him straight to hell.
You know what I'm going to do? And people on the Facebook side, you're definitely going to see this very shortly. I'm gonna pull the clip of that. I'm going to get this soundbite of Jim Ross saying, good God Almighty. I'm going to put him in one, and then that's going to go viral. He is
broken in half.
So
love it.
Stay tuned. That'll be up in 24 hours. The other 2 comments, and they're connected. His first one, he says, can't wait for the 30 for 30 and the America's Game documentary on this legendary season.
Yes.
And he throws out the question, what could be a good nickname for the 2017-2018 Philadelphia Eagles team?
Good name.
Well, that's a great nickname. That's a phenomenal question.
To me, it would just be underdogs.
Oh, yeah, that's simple.
Underdogs.
I think if there's a 30 for 30, it should be labeled Top Dogs. Just like
Top Dogs is good. I like that
just
too.
like the newspaper was that they were holding up on the field.
I like that too.
Top Dogs, the story of the 2017-2018 Philadelphia Eagles team.
I love it. Yeah, I think that would be a great nickname.
Nice and simple. Yeah.
Good question, though. I like that.
That's a phenomenal question.
Yeah,
or, it'll be a footnote in the Carson Wentz football life in 20 years.
You know what I want to know, guys? I want to know, just because we're having a good time, we're chatting it up, it's free conversation, I want to know where people are joining us from. So whether it's Facebook, it's YouTube, let's see where Eagles Nation's at tonight. So drop in where you're chiming in from. I don't care if it's a town in South Jersey. I don't care if you're Tom's next-door neighbor. Just put it in here, and I want to know where Eagles Nation's chiming in from tonight.
Do you want to yell at somebody real quick? You want to yell at somebody?
Can we all
chat?
yell?
Well, there's someone in the chat that I feel like is going to trigger some yelling.
Which one?
Oh, God.
Robert Cortolo.
Okay.
All right, Robert. Here we go.
Is it YouTube?
Yes, it is. He said, "Hold on now." Oh no, go ahead, Charles. What were you gonna say?
No. Read it because I'm still at the point
gotcha.
where I left off, so I don't want to leave it.
He said, "Hold on now. You guys won the game because of a fumble. Pat scored touchdowns every time in the second half except the fumble.
So
you guys are very fortunate."
So what? What?
Time's
okay,
yours.
wait, what? So wait, hold on. What? So
I don't even want to acknowledge this because I know that this dude's just trying to troll us. Because then he has it can't
be a real person.
He can't possibly know anything about football and make that statement seriously.
Okay, all right.
So I can't imagine that is an actual comment.
Yeah.
I appreciate the attempt to troll.
Yeah.
But
sorry,
listen, you got out-coached. The quarterback on both sides. Your quarterback had a phenomenal game. I cannot take it away from Tom Brady, but the play calling was terrible.
A big thing.
And Tom Brady, as great of a game that he had the biggest mistake. And he dropped the fucking ball right in his hands.
Extend, Tom.
No,
you can't extend.
Yeah, we're fortunate that our quarterback can catch. That's what we're fortunate about.
Yeah,
and it was a pretty great throw by Trey.
Yes, it was.
I want to address
who's a former quarterback.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to address it before someone else, another Pats fan, wants to bring it up. That the Philly special play where Pats fans are now saying,
horseshit.
wait, no. I'm going to address it, and I want to say, I'm going to put a nail. I'm going to end it because they want to say illegal formation. Well, you know what? When you are at the line of scrimmage, okay, after you break the huddle,
It's called execution.
as a wide receiver, you look to the ref. Am I good? Am I good? Do I have to move? Do I have to back off the line of scrimmage? The ref gives you okay, you're good. You look at the coaches. Do they say, do you have to get off the line of scrimmage? Or am I good? If they say you're good, you're good. If the ref says you don't have to move, you don't have to move.
It is the ref's
you are good. It is the
responsibility
ref's
to move the
responsibility.
receiver. Yep.
Jeffrey checked. That's all he has to do.
That's his
That is
responsibility.
all he has to do. There is a difference between last year. If you remember, Nelson Aguilar got caught for illegal formation.
Because he did not check with the
He
official.
did not check with the official. That is a difference. So all this complaining about an illegal formation, don't even start. Because also, if you want to think about it, is really if Jeffrey lines up one way or the other, is that really going to make a difference in you
No.
stopping the damn play?
No.
No, it's not. You can't tell me that him lining up 2 inches farther back or two inches farther forward is going to prevent you from stopping that damn play. It's not. It's not like a pass interference call. It's not like a holding call. It's a damn alignment that has nothing to do
with the play.
with how the play ends up. So stop with your complaining
I'm gonna put it
about
this
an
way.
illegal formation.
This is a simple way. You want to sit here and say luck? That's not luck. It's called execution. The Eagles executed throughout the entire game. The Pats didn't. Bottom line, game over. Offense, defense. You know what? That mistake, that fumble's not. It's not an aberration.
Brandon Graham made a play.
Brandon Graham executing and making the play, and Tom Brady not doing what he's supposed to
injury,
do,
by
which
the
is
way.
to keep his fucking hands on the football and keep the ball.
Boom. So, Charles, that was a very well thought out, very technical response. Here's what I'd like to add. Wow. Wow. Get over it. The game is over. You lost.
It's execution. That's all it is.
Jesus.
It's a bunch of crybaby
My
stuff.
God. Go film another team's practice, for
My
God's
God.
sake.
Oh, God.
So, YouTube's not happy with Robert.
Oh, yeah. I bet they
Oh,
are.
I just want
Go ahead,
to. I
read
just
off.
want to send out the message to Robert. We appreciate you for commenting. We're just having fun with you. I can't say the same for the YouTube chat.
No,
'cause
listen,
they're
we
very
do.
angry.
We do. I mean, we got our Eagles people. I love hearing from people from other teams. It's all in good time.
It's
So-
great when they go off.
There's a
on
little bit of a crying, but
Yes.
it's okay.
So he said, well, the second he had a rebuttal before everyone got mad at him, and he said, "Yes, but they played better. But Brady threw up 505 yards on
Cool.
this fantastic defense. But
Cool
guess
story.
what? Who won the freaking game?
game.
Where are you high? Where are you okay? Are you high? All in all honesty, are you okay?
Wait,
We are so lucky
What
that-
what did the scoreboard read? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Eagles had more points. Therefore, they won the game because they played
we
better.
are so lucky a football
Freak
game is
outta
only
here.
60 minutes, not 65. I'm so sorry.
So
I am so sorry that a game is only 60 minutes. There was
Execution.
no extra minutes for Tom Brady. to
Tom
watch that.
versus time.
No, listen, and again, I'm going to keep it very simple. It's execution. The Eagles executed to perfection their game plan and every play essentially throughout the game, almost to perfection. That's how you win Super Bowl. By the way, they managed the clock. What are the things that we said the Eagles needed to do to win that football
It was a
game?
7-minute
They
drive.
needed to manage the clock. 2 7-minute drives.
Yeah, well, I'm saying the last
They
one was a
needed to
7-minute
manage the
drive.
clock, whether it's through the run game or whatever they needed to do, manage the clock, and they needed to get a defensive, 1, maybe 2 defensive turnovers to win this football game. And what happened? Game opened up, 7-minute drive. Later in the game, 7-minute drive. What did we need Nick Foles to do? Just play well and execute. And
Well,
that's what
he
Nick
played
Foles
He
did.
did way more than that,
He
too.
did
Yeah.
beyond that, but that's what we
Yeah.
needed. And
Exactly.
then at the most important time in the football game, the defensive turnover is what made the difference.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Sometimes
That's
all you
what
need.
champions
Dude,
do to win.
even
One
Tom
play.
Brady. Tom Brady even admitted it. Tom Brady kind of said exactly what you said. He said when they needed to make a play, They have a good pass rush. They came up with the play when they needed to make the play. They came up with the play at the right time.
Yep.
And that's it.
So, I'll read a couple of the comments that responded to Robert.
Yes, please.
So, Gina Rambo showed up on the
Gina.
YouTube chat.
Nice, Gina,
she
my
shifted
girl.
over.
And she just pulled off a full-fledged heel turn.
Gina,
yes,
girl.
Because she said, Robert, please take a long walk off of a short pier. Stats don't mean anything except for who has the W at the 0 mark. The 0, 0, 0 mark. Let's see. Sixers JT chimes in, and he has some inside knowledge, by the way. He was asking about the parade situation, so I'll read that a little later. But he said, Robert is the type of guy to say dilly dilly while he drinks a Corona. You got Jonathan Griffith saying that Robert's just saying garbage because Robert keeps saying, just saying. Well, just saying, Robert. Get a clue. Calm down over there. A lot of Edgar Venzer says he's chiming in from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Edgar.
Nice.
We have a lot of people in here from Philadelphia area, PA, New Jersey.
Same here. I got Salisbury, North Carolina over
Nice.
here.
Awesome.
That's Mike Parker.
That's great.
We had 2 Brazilian
Texas,
guys,
Louisiana,
and we had some guy
Cornichons.
from France last night.
What? That's
Crazy.
awesome.
I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
great.
cool.
Good job, guys.
Afraid of PA.
Or one
Fairless Hills,
one of
PA.
the
Warren,
NFL teams that are
PA.
foreign-born players.
Loving it, guys. I know John's here. John's Stratford, New Jersey.
Sweet.
Loving it, guys.
Should I read another? Go back to the YouTube comments. I haven't.
Yeah.
There's something I gotta catch up on. So Jose Mary says again. Somehow, even with a Super Bowl win, with a backup. Oh no, I read that already.
You sure did.
Eagles game plan says Gronk and Brady didn't show up. They didn't want it. Gronk was more focused on getting hurt. Eagles had eye of the tiger. They wanted it more. Chev93 comes back and says, I've been a fan since I was 9. I'm 24 now. Tears that night. Touche, Chev.
Ian Henderson joining us from Lakeville, Minnesota. What's up?
Love it.
Ooh, very nice.
Very nice. Eagles Nation is out tonight, guys.
Nice. Jose Mary responds to the other comment. Says, Gronk and Brady did show up. Foles just wouldn't be denied. It was the best postseason performance by a QB ever. And then she responds to Chev, saying, Chev, I bet you became a real fan when Deuce Staley ran for over 200 yards in the pickle juice game against the Cowboys. I've been hooked ever since.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Listen, like
That was like the dude, that game
that's a
was,
good
that's a turnaround.
that's
of
a,
a
that's a
franchise
good
game.
point, and like a serious response to Rob's comment earlier. Was his name Rob, right? Was that
Yeah,
his name?
think so.
Robert Cortolo.
Like a serious response to that. Yeah, Brady had a phenomenal game, but the rest of the team didn't execute the way they needed to. The Eagles, Nick Foles had a phenomenal game.
Sensational game.
The defense executed as they needed to. The receivers stepped up as they needed to.
Offensive
the
line.
running backs stepped up as they needed to. The defensive line, the offensive line. The only person that didn't was Jake Elliott. He missed a kick.
but he
Nobody
got
came
two
out
40-plus yard field
Right.
goals.
He pulled the
Because
Jake
he's good
Elliott.
from 40 yards or more.
He pulled the Jake Elliott.
Hey,
I shit myself every time he
Gostkowski-
kicks under 40
Yo,
yards.
Gostkowski shanked an extra point, and he
Yeah,
shanked
so it kind of was
field goal.
it was a wash. But you're right. He made the 40 yards or
Yeah,
more,
it's
which
the
we always
longest-
talk about. 40 or over, I'm so
Yeah,
confident.
the longest kick by a rookie in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
So, but that's
No,
if you were going to say, hey, somebody stumbled, let's say that.
Yeah,
It was him, but he came
Well,
back and
Jalen-
bounced back. Young kid.
I would say Jalen Mills was great during the 2 playoff games. He was not great.
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
well, the secondary
Wow.
struggled.
He wasn't.
Darby
Yeah.
was played off, but
Yeah.
there's just one.
Patrick Robinson was also. He
Yeah.
had a great year. He
A2DRadio.com has chimed in
Really? Who's
and
that?
said, what up, mofos? I'm going to go with Jenkins' hit because it set the tone, but secondly would be the play and usage of Clement, who had a monster game and was a critical piece
Yes.
versus the GOATs.
Did you see the snap counts for the running backs, by the way, guys?
No, I didn't look them up. What were they?
Ajayi, 25.
Mm-hmm.
LeGarrette Blount, 24.
Okay.
Corey Clement, 24. They
So
almost all
even.
had the same
Wow,
exact
that's
amount
awesome.
of snaps.
That's so awesome.
Deuce,
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
Deuce Staley,
Yeah.
I
He
keep
called
going
me
back.
again.
He needs to be
He will
considered
be.
a head coach at some
He
candidate
will be.
at some point.
He will be.
Yeah,
He's
I
been
think
He
grooming
just
he's
him.
connects
awesome.
too well with players. He knows the game. He just, like I said, he turned Corey Clement into a third down back, and
Yeah,
he
somehow.
just deserves so much more
And
credit.
we got people also bringing up the Philly special, the Philly play.
Sure.
And obviously, if you heard the sound clip from it, Nick Foles is the one that called
Love
the
it.
play.
Yeah, he
Love
called
Walked over and
it.
said, "Want to do Philly?" Doug kind of looked at it
He's
for a
like,
second and said,
All right, let's do it.
"Let's do it." And I gotta love the confidence in
Yeah.
your head coach, who, by the way, Everybody says up with a backup quarterback has that much confidence in his ability to execute a play like that. And a 4th and 1 at such a pivotal point in the game, especially you're going to have to defer the football at the second half.
Yeah.
To make that call, that's ballsy on both ends.
Balls.
So, like,
and they only practiced it 3 times.
Right.
3 times.
And what I love is, too, like, in an NFL huddle, we've all heard, like, quarterbacks mic'd up, and it's like Razor 6, 742, jet on 2. Like, just something insane. All it was is Nick Foles goes up to this Philly special.
Go.
And it was like, yes! It was so awesome.
He knew it.
Yeah, it was so
I
awesome.
love it.
So you want to do Philly special?
So good.
Great.
That
I
was
loved it.
really awesome.
And what I also thought was interesting was, I forget who said it, but they were saying that there's no way Burton could have thrown it like way higher, and in practice, Foles was catching everything. They're saying that Foles is that athletic that no matter how high you would have
Yeah, we can dunk.
it,
I don't know if you guys know
yeah,
that.
Nick Foles
can dunk.
Yeah, he can dunk.
He's an athlete.
So that's just, it's crazy. You think of Nick Foles like he's tall, he's a little limber, he can't move. No, he's athletic. He really is
not
athletic.
fast.
He's just not fast. Yeah.
Daniel Bakley, Eagles defensive backs, playing back on those wide receivers, played into New England's game, but it was a good counter to put Jenkins on White.
Yeah, that was a really good matchup. Yeah.
I wonder.
Zach, I'm sorry, but one thing we talked about too, that I just was thinking about, I can't remember what comment brought it up and made me think about it. My God, Zach Ertz might be the best freaking route runner ever. That slant for that game-winning touchdown.
Oh my God, he left him in the dust.
Oh my God. And that was after last week when he ran that route on Harrison Smith.
Yes.
It's like, dude,
Zach Ertz's route running, especially this year, has gotten
so much better. The little details.
Like, I don't feel like that was a strength of his when he first came into the league.
It wasn't a.
It wasn't a strength.
It wasn't a strength.
He was good route
But I'm
runner,
talking
great
now, like
He's
you're
stepped
talking
it up.
ridiculous.
As far as tight ends go, he's one of the top tight ends. We got 4 minutes before we're going to take a very, very quick break. So do not leave us, guys.
Please do
we're
not leave
literally
us.
only going to take about 5 minutes or so. 5 or 6 minutes.
I want to read
Charles, get to YouTube.
Yeah,
Let's
this
chime
one
in some more
quote I
YouTube.
love by So Damn Clutch. He says, "We did it for all the previous Eagles players and fans who unfortunately never had that chance to experience a Lombardi. We did it for all the late great players and late fans who wanted nothing more than that parade down Broad Street. We did it for all the fallen players we lost throughout this year. We did it for Philly." And we did. Like you see, and I know you guys will love this because I know you saw it. John Dorenbos is getting a ring.
Yep.
How
what a great
of
story.
a move is that?
Listen, I love Dorenbos.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great dude. And then I do watch America's Got Talent. If you got to see him on there and see his personality, guy was the best ambassador you could ever ask for for the organization and for the league.
Yeah.
And kind of you think about that
And
whole
his
story about the
so close to dying on
and
the
the
field.
fact that was voided and technically he was an Eagle.
Yeah.
When I was saying it's just like his story in general, like with his parents and all that. Oh my
It's
God,
crazy,
like it's insane.
He's a special guy, and to have the ability to have everything kind of fall as it did, and to be able to consider him one of us, to get him that ring finally, it's just one of those awesome moments.
My favorite though, man, out of everybody who talked and all the players, my God, Jason Kelsey, dude.
That rant was beautiful.
God. The rant after the game. Well, that was the best moment.
Oh, yeah.
What just
That
happened?
was
We just won
great.
the fucking Super Bowl. I was like, yes, that's awesome.
That
but
was
then
great.
and then just at his press conference, man, when he was saying like he's like just like everything like is from my mom and my dad, and like I persisted through everything, and like and like he started crying. I was like, holy shit! Like it was just like it was beautiful. Like
He's
it was
he's another guy this year that when it came into the year.
Dude, people wanted to cut him. Not only that, I remember Max Unger went down for the Saints. Everybody said, "Oh, well, let's trade him." It's crazy to think about that. Like that was everyone said that, and
when I was watching that, the first thought I had, and I put it in the comments, and I said, Jason Kelsey just cut the best promo in Philadelphia.
Oh, it's
Eagles
awesome!
history.
Yeah.
So good,
was
so
amazing.
freaking
So
good. I think that was when I woke up out of my fog the next day.
Sure.
I think that was the first thing I shared.
Oh, on
That was
ATV?
that before or after?
Just
you
period. Anything that I saw that might have been
Yeah.
the first Super Bowl thing the day after that I shared. I missed your comment when you said to me, but it was probably
said before or after
inappropriate.
before or after you said bye.
Shut up.
I'm gonna hit the music now.
Oh God.
One thing I do want to talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
too when we come back on the other side, people have been asking about what our opinion is on Donovan not making a statement without other Eagles did. So we'll address that We will talk about the Josh McDaniels reverse about face. We're going to continue talking Birds Super Bowl, guys. Thank you for
come back. Don't leave.
Come back.
We will be right back.
Thank you to Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant, Make 'em yours for sponsoring the first half. Scanzano Sports, obviously, for hitting us with the poll question from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios, BMWAtlanticCity.com. Guys, 5 minutes. We'll see you in 5. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Birds of a Feather on A2D Radio during Super Bowl celebration week for the Philadelphia Eagles and Eagles Nation.
Super Bowl celebration, what, till next season?
Absolutely.
Till the ring ceremony?
You
Absolutely.
could say lifetime. We might be celebrating for our whole lives.
We are live from the BMW of Atlantic City studios, bmwofatlanticcity.com. Second half brought to you by StreamSmart, streamsmart.com. And our poll question, guys.
I love that beat, by the way.
Listen, the music's been fantastic. The lead-in music earlier was fantastic. Our poll question brought to you by Scanzano Sports, scanzanosports.com. What was your favorite moment of Super Bowl 52? We got the Phillies special. That 4th and goal TD pass to Nick Foles from Trey Burton. We got the game-winning TD to Zach Ertz. We got Malcolm Jenkins' hit on Brandon Cooks. Something else. A lot of great moments. Corey Clement. A lot of good things to take away from this game, guys. So.
Oh, by the way, it is Clement, pronounced Clement.
Whatever.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
I say it both ways. It's whatever I'm feeling at the moment.
Don't
you correct me.
Clement.
That's see. So I had 3 people tell me like in the last 3 days. Oh, you're pronouncing it wrong. I'm like, it's Clement.
It's Clement.
I say it both.
I have a direct. Well, not. It's like a slightly indirect source. My close friend, was friends with him in grade school, so he knows him and his brother. It's pronounced.
It's Clement.
Yep.
Don't you ever correct me when we're celebrating a championship, okay?
They just won, all right?
I say it both ways. It's whatever I feel at that moment.
Not this week.
Not this week.
Oh, man.
Quick breaking story, if anybody does care about basketball this week, that Kristaps Porzingis just went down with looks like
bad.
a major knee injury for the Knicks. Going up and putting a layup up and came down, his knee buckled. Looks like it could be an ACL.
Yeah,
it looked really bad. He was holding on to it and he was riding it.
I mean, I know we don't love the Knicks, but I don't like to see any guys get major injuries.
Especially not a young, talented guy like that. No.
Yeah,
it's gonna be something to keep an eye on.
I mean, I hate the Knicks, but Porzingis, I like Porzingis.
Tough injury, but we're back, guys. We are back. I know that people were asking in the first half, so let's dive into this. A lot of former Philadelphia Eagles came out and had, lots of wonderful words to say. Donovan McNabb has not said anything that I know at this point.
Of course.
I don't know, guys, because we do know that the organization has kind of distanced themselves from him a little bit. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything.
Well, there's that whole thing with the lawsuit with the NFL Network and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't read too much into it. He might be keeping a low profile at this point because of all that stuff going on right now. And to be honest, guys, I love hearing from the old guys, but I don't worry about that stuff. It's not something that's going to rain on my parade. Five did a lot for us while he was here, and
he did.
They were enjoyable times. And even though Foles is the guy who bought us the ring, until somebody has the sustained success that he had.
This is on his Twitter account.
What do you say?
Congratulations.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
The Eagles for Super Bowl. Great game plan by Doug. An excellent effort by the boys.
That was a day ago?
Eagle for life, Bird Gang.
There you go.
Yesterday.
Okay, well, that was yesterday. Cool. So he did say something.
Right, done.
So there's
Come on,
guys. Response,
guys. Fake news, guys. Let's go.
Hey, I don't follow McNabb on Twitter.
Neither do I.
I don't follow him on Twitter.
I gotta
either,
be honest.
so.
Neither do I, but that's why I wanted to make sure I looked it up.
He's never been my.
Well, maybe people want me to go on camera and say anything. Yeah. But anyway, regardless, Five did a lot for us, and he's still our franchise's best quarterback we've ever had until somebody sustains the success. So, anyway, guys, moving on. We got Lancaster County chiming in here. That's Gina.
Hey, Lancaster.
Nice.
Okay. So, anyway, where are we at, guys? Do we want to dive into Josh McDaniels now? Do we want to keep going?
Let me read this one comment.
A lot of directions to go.
Let me read this.
So much to talk about.
I'll read this one comment and get your thoughts on this.
Okay.
Because this was way before. This is in the first half. And I'm sorry, my YouTube people. I always feel like I get behind on your comments.
Parker,
I'm
real
so
quick.
sorry.
Mike Parker just said Embiid tried to do a hook shot from 3 points. or 3-point territory.
Oh, Lord, indeed.
Of course.
I don't know the context, but that's amazing.
By the way, Joel Embiid, when was it Fox? Was it 29?
Yes, Fox. Yeah.
That they were in the crowd, and didn't even know he was going to appear. And the guy the anchor just marked out because Embiid just emerged in the middle of the crowd with everybody and was freaking out. Oh, it was great. I love Joel
they were
Embiid
next,
so
man.
much. And he might be right. Guess what? He might be right.
Charles,
not right away, but
what I can do as well, because I know what you're saying, because there's so many of these comments. If you want, if you can read a couple, we can do them both together because they're flying.
They're flying on YouTube. Jonathan Griffith said this. How confident are you that the Eagles will repeat? Where do you their chances are going into next year?
I believe that the team is built to sustain success over the next 4, maybe 5 years. I think Howie's going to have to do some work with the cap. I know we don't want to see someone like Foles go, and I don't think you trade him, and we talked about this off air. Unless I get a number 1 draft pick thrown at me, a first-round draft pick, he doesn't go anywhere. I don't even care about second-round draft picks.
What if the Browns offer you 33?
I would have to think about it then.
I would take 33. I would take pick 33.
I don't know.
To have 32 and 33.
Then you'd have 32 and 33.
Very good point.
I would take 33.
I would.
And you might even be able to package those and move up if you
exactly. So, but for the most part, I tend to agree with you. Unless I'm getting a first, I'm keeping
it has to be something that's really worth our while.
Or I was going to say, or a game-changing young player that still has a good contract, whatever.
Because you know that Howie's not afraid to bring in NFL talent, guys who are already on rosters. I think that a lot's going to depend on where Carson's at as far as his rehab.
Absolutely, it's big. That's a big part of it.
I feel pretty confident that he might be ready to go right around the start of the season, but I'm not.
I heard he was launching balls 50 yards down the field off his back leg during the Super Bowl.
Oh, I believe it.
We got a similar question. We've been getting similar questions on the page the last couple of days. People were asking us who's more likely to get back to the Super Bowl, the Patriots or the Eagles. And obviously you can make an argument for both. But, would I be shocked if the Eagles are back next year? Absolutely not. Like you said, Chrome, I think this is a successful, sustaining success type of a team structure. We also have to remember that, the conference, we are in the tougher conference, and then you have to expect,
Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy.
He will be back, and then in division, the Cowboys are still going to be around. The Giants aren't going to be trashed for very long.
People are going to hate me for saying this, but I have to believe the Cowboys are going to bounce back next year.
100%. With
a full year with Zeke.
Yeah.
I don't think Dak is quite what they thought from the first season, but I don't think he's what you saw last season.
They're going to, in my opinion, and we will talk about this for months and months ahead.
Right.
I think they're going to go all defensive-minded in the offseason. And they're probably going to get a star wide receiver. Maybe the guy that was cut from the Oakland Raiders, or was going to be. Who was that? Crabtree?
Crabtree? I don't know. Yeah.
Somebody like that.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be better, obviously. The Seahawks aren't going to be – they're still going to be around, obviously. The teams – the Rams are going to get 1 year older, more experienced.
The Falcons, the Panthers, all these
the
teams
Saints are still around.
These teams aren't going anywhere.
So it's not like
– and they're all going to improve.
It's not like in the AFC to where you can only name 2 teams, really, the Steelers
absolutely.
and the Patriots.
Hey, the Jaguars might be the real deal, too.
This might be something that we want to hear because we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
Well, first thing I'm going to jump in because Greg finally jumped in. And Greg ate his crow finally.
Respect to him.
Respect to him. He handled it with class.
Thank you, Greg. You handled it with class, and your video was fantastic.
That's awesome.
But he says, "What's up, mofos? Sorry I'm late. I'm gonna go with the Jenkins hit because it set the tone. But secondly, would be the play and usage of Clement. Clement, are you good, Clement?
Hey,
who had a monster game and was a critical puzzle piece versus the GOATs. # World Effing Champions. Stephen Maroney Jr. or Marone. I'm sorry, Stephen, if I got it wrong." He says Shermer wants Deuce as offensive coordinator.
I know.
Or flip. God, no. Not to change the subjects, but my good friend is a Giants beat writer.
I know. I hope this doesn't go to the
Giants.
No,
I could see either. I mean,
listen,
either one I could see.
I know.
If I'm Shermer, I probably want DiFilippo because you would think they're going to draft a young quarterback
at some point, right? Absolutely.
And I want DiFilippo to to do what he just did for Carson Wentz. I hope that doesn't happen. But that's what I would want.
And listen, I mean, you take somebody from the rival, from the world champion rival.
You're hurting yourself.
You're hurting the coaching staff. I mean, it's a strong coaching staff regardless. We're going to lose somebody.
Andy Reid's coaching tree. Look at it. Look how bad that got poached over the years, and it hurt him as the years went by.
Back to the topic that was posted about who's more likely to come back to the Super Bowl, the Patriots or the Eagles. I just looked it up. The 2 times the Patriots lost to the Giants, the following season they didn't go back to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, if you want to talk about, like, always that Super Bowl hangover that the Super Bowl loser has had, it's stuck with even the Patriots. The great dynasty that is the Patriots, even they have had the Super Bowl hangover.
My thing is, too, and, like, Chrome, you already kind of alluded to it, not even going 4 or 5 years, so let's stick in the next 2 years. Most of this Eagles core is locked up.
Yeah.
They're like, so this offseason, the big guy, they're probably going to lose Nigel Bradham. That's probably going to happen. Which does suck. I agree. I hear you. He had a phenomenal season. He fits great in Jim Schwartz's scheme. He's a damn good football player.
We're probably going to lose him.
We're probably going to lose him, and that sucks. But Jordan Hicks will be back, and you're probably at this point with the way the offensive line is shaping up, and with the fact that it seems like Jason Peters is coming back.
Yeah, he's coming.
And with how well Vitae played. At pick 32, this is a pretty good linebacker draft. I'm probably looking for a young, dynamic linebacker to play with Jordan Hicks, who maybe not initially would be an upgrade over Bradham, but over the long term might be more of a playmaker than Bradham.
No, and I think you're right. And one of the good things about having Paulie here is Paulie is very good at analyzing the draft. He does a lot of that with NBC Sports Philly. And what's going to be a part of our show, especially going forward the weeks to come, is Paulie's going to go through the different positions, potential guys that the Eagles could draft, or even just names to watch in the draft. Maybe they could fall to a division rival. Guys who could be an impact player,
and
possibly,
you never know. Guys
whether
get
now
traded.
or down the road. Right.
Yeah.
Guy gets traded, and all of a sudden the Eagles have a third-round pick or have a second-round pick, whatever.
Right.
So it's always worth it to look at all the guys because you never know.
Yeah. We'll have a lot of draft content like this offseason. Like, our show is going to be very, very, very in tune with the draft. We'll have a lot of content on the website and on the show.
Stephen Marone wants to know, can they move Foles for a young linebacker and a third or fourth? Do you make that move?
Who has one?
I was going to say, I don't know who's giving away young linebackers these days, but I mean, I hear you because you're going to value a potential franchise quarterback over a young linebacker.
Yeah.
So I get that. I'm just trying to rack my head of what team would have that perfect match of a young linebacker
to where they would be willing to move that linebacker to add a quarterback. I don't know that there's anybody.
Yeah,
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Like, I'm trying to think of the Bills don't really have anybody that would fit that mold. Like, I'm trying to think of the teams that need a quarterback. I don't know who they would give you.
Yeah.
What do you got, Ron?
Jimmy Chonga chimes in, says
Jimmy Chonga.
The manufactured media drama is going to be real next year. The moment that Carson has a bad game or even goes into a slump, idiots will try to spin it into the Steve Young, Joe Montana controversy. He says, assuming, of course, we keep Nick Foles.
My friend already asked me that, too. He was like, what's going to happen? I don't know. To me, it's simple. Foles is the backup. Wentz is the starter. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no discussion. Wentz is the starter. Foles is the backup.
It's also, that's not a perfect apples to oranges analogy with the young Montana thing, because me and you are old, and you're old too. We're all.
I know where you're going with
Ryan's
this.
not old.
We're
old. Charles just looks like a young boy.
It's true.
I look like I'm 16.
But when that was going down, Steve Young was kind of a dick. And he wanted to be he was still young at that point. He had flamed out in the USFL. He wanted to be a starting quarterback. He wanted Montana's job. Nick Foles already came out at Disney World and said, this is Carson Wentz's team.
Well, how about this? JT says, what about more like Prescott and the Romo controversy? I know it's without a Super Bowl, obviously, or even a playoff win.
There was controversy, but nothing happened. It was fine. It all played out the way. Romo had a press conference saying, this right now is Dak Prescott's team, and he accepted it. There was nothing there. There was no drama.
Well, I think
Tony
what
Romo
JT
was a lot older, too.
Well, I think what JT is trying to say is, the parallels with, obviously Foles and Carson and obviously Prescott and Romo, those two quote-unquote controversies, is that both of them it got started because an injured starting quarterback. And someone came in and played very well. You can say that with both of those storylines. I think that's the only reason why JT is going in that direction, obviously.
Again, and I get it's fair to bring those things up, but I just don't think it's – I mean, I just think the way that Wentz and Foles are, I don't see – like, you saw how happy Wentz was for Foles.
100%.
So I'm saying I just don't – I think their personalities, if this is the case where they keep Nick Foles – I don't think their personalities will allow for a real controversy to happen.
Let's not be short-sighted, guys. What Foles did is phenomenal, and he showed that he's got a lot more in the tank than people thought.
Sure.
But he's well coached. He fits the system. We've seen what he can be in a system that he does not fit. Carson's the type of guy who is a young franchise game-changing quarterback. Consistently, week in and week out, and we have seen it. Even back to last season when the roster wasn't half as talented as it is now.
And he wasn't even half as good as he is now either.
Carson made strides week in and week out, and in my opinion, in a lot of ways, carried that team to a 7-9 season. In a season where they very easily could have won a few more games, or very easily could have lost a few more games and walked out of there with a 4 or 5 win season. Carson Wentz is an impact young quarterback.
They were 11-2, and he was running away with the MVP award.
Nick Foles
running away.
Nick Foles will be a hero in this city forever.
Absolutely, he's a legend.
But Nick Foles is not the future quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles.
There's no precedent where all those other examples that people want to throw out. There's no precedent of a guy who we traded up for. We deemed him as the franchise guy. We made all the moves to get him. Everyone knows he is the franchise guy.
This team was built around him.
Correct.
Wentz, and he was having an MVP level season. It's not like this is a guy who has been in the league for years, and he's starting to tail off, or if he's in the middle of his prime already and he's getting older. No, this is a young guy in his second year who is already an MVP caliber quarterback who is by many to be deemed as the next top quarterback of the league. There's no precedent of that. So the conversation ends there. He is the starter, and Foles was brought in here to be the backup behind him.
At this point in Foles' career as well, it's not saying he can't start somewhere else, but even if you hear the chatter around the league of could he go here or could he go there, the chatter is consistent. He's looked at as a stopgap quarterback for a team that needs a young quarterback. He's not being looked at by other organizations as the guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy right now. It's like there's Mr. Right and Mr. Right now. He would be Mr. Right now while they search for Mr. Right going forward, while they look for their Carson Wentz to go forward.
And it's one of those deals where you draft that young quarterback, and it's kind of like what Andy Reid did when he was here, and what he just did with Kansas City. You take on the veteran quarterback, you have the young quarterback, and if the veteran plays well, and you think, oh, maybe he is the franchise, you trade the young guy.
Doug Peterson, as a player, was brought here to be the stopgap quarterback for Donovan McNabb, and when the time was right, youth must be served. Now, Foles is still a fairly young guy, and he's 29? You think he just turned 28? Just turned 28. But you have Carson Wentz, the premier young quarterback in the league, who any 29 other teams in this league would give up the number 1 pick for Carson Wentz. You do not put Nick Foles above Carson Wentz, even after this. His story in Philadelphia is forever written as a hero here, but he is not the future of the organization.
Yeah.
Chrome, teams around this league might give up the next 3 number 1 picks
to get Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because it's
Cleveland might give up their next 6 drafts for Carson Wentz.
Someone, a non-Eagles fan, brought that up. They said if the Browns called and said, we'll give you 1 for Myles Garrett and something else for Wentz, and I'm like, no.
So
you could offer me anything, and I say no.
Tony Montana says, congrats on your Super Bowl win. Huge 49er fan here, and you guys deserve it.
Thank
please
you.
send me a cheesesteak. Well, it will be in the mail. Don't know your address, but it will be in the mail.
Woodrow's.
Pretty delicious.
Hey, you got a nice young quarterback.
You got
Jimmy.
You got Jimmy G, and you know we're fanboys over here
Jimmy
for Jimmy
GQ,
G,
baby.
so
Yeah.
I'm
All day
excited
Jimmy
to watch
GQ.
Jimmy G.
Yeah.
And then I was going to ask you guys a question from John D. Casanova, but I think you guys
Bye,
pretty
Gina.
much answered it.
Gina's jumping off. Bye, Gina.
Bye, Gina.
Love
Thank
when
you.
Gina chimes in with us every
See
week.
you Thursday at the parade.
And John D. Casanova says, I love Wentz, but say that he's not ready to start, ready for the start of the season, and 6 games in, Nick Foles is slinging, and is 2013 Foles, do you bench him as soon as Wentz is healthy, or keep the hot hand?
As soon as Carson Wentz is 110%, you put Carson Wentz in.
I agree with that.
I
It
agree.
just buys
Exactly.
the Eagles more time if Nick Foles happens to play extremely
Yeah,
well.
and listen, you can take it with a grain of salt, or you can't. You can take it more into it. David Carr was on, I want to say NFL Network. Is that where he's doing analyst
I
work?
believe so, yeah.
And David Carr, they asked him about Nick Foles. And David Carr, right now, said he is a personal friend of Nick Foles. And he said his belief is that Nick Foles wants to be in Philadelphia, does not want to go elsewhere, and that he would consider, he in his heart of hearts, believes that Foles might retire before going elsewhere. I don't know how much you take into that.
Yeah.
But if he's as good of a personal friend as he had said when I watched him, I think it was yesterday he was talking. He said, I'm a little concerned right now. He said that he believes that this is where Foles wants to be. He wanted to be in Philadelphia. Even after this is where he wants to be.
See,
Understanding he's not the starting quarterback because he understands this is Carson Wentz's team. His job was to fill in if need be and do the best job possible. He did his job to perfection once those playoffs started. And now he maintains that job. He is your backup quarterback. There's no controversy.
None.
It is over. Nick Foles, fantastic. Thank you for everything that you did. And now Carson takes the team back.
Yep.
what if Nick Foles retires? Like right now. I'm not even like no
No,
joke.
I
Like
hear
what
it.
if he does? Because like if you're him, and I don't mean to be like cynical, but like when is it ever going to get better for him? Like how are you going to top this?
You can't.
A Patriots fan, by the way, Kevin Godwin, who was at the bar with us watching.
Oh,
the game.
Kevin. Kevin, I'm so sorry.
Kevin
man.
says congrats. Thank you, Kevin. I know.
Yeah.
It was a
Kevin's
tough
a
night
good
for you
guy.
the other
Kevin's
day,
a
but Kevin's
guy.
a good dude. He's a real fan. He's a
Yeah.
realist. We had a lot of good conversation
Yeah.
the other day.
Good game, Kevin. I'm sorry I couldn't see you the other day.
Mike Parker says, can we address how David Carr smoked Dak in the throw-off?
Oh, dear Lord.
But no, I mean, if the guy's that close to him and he spoke very confidently about it, I don't know that he's going to retire. But do I
I'm
believe?
just throwing it out there as
do
a
I
thought,
believe? And he said, do I believe that this is where he wants to be? Absolutely. I mean, if he gets traded, he gets traded. But like you said yourself, I mean, does life get any better for him than what he has right here in
it's
Philadelphia?
unbelievable right
I mean,
now.
the guy might want to. He understands
top
his
of the
role.
world
Guy
right
might
now.
want to finish his career as a Philadelphia Eagle. He's going to be a
I wouldn't
hero
be
here
surprised.
forever.
I wouldn't be surprised if he just wants to take
He's
that.
got a Super Bowl highlight for the ages.
Yes.
This is a top 3 to 5 Super Bowl game of all time played. So I just don't see
Yeah.
it. Do you have anything over there on
I saw one
YouTube?
comment. Let's get this out, and I will address it again because it has to do with the catch rule. Mark G says, "Can you please discuss Ertz's controversy? My friend says it's the same as Des Catch, and he's a Pats fan." Again,
Of course he does.
my rant from weeks ago about this catch rule.
We don't need it. Yeah, we
and
don't need to go
I'll
too
shorten
totally
it, but
into
no, it is not the same as the Des catch because when Des caught it, he decided to dive, after Des caught the ball in the air. He jumped, he fell forward.
He's
hence,
not
he is
a runner.
ruling himself as
He didn't
going
establish
to the
himself
ground.
as a runner.
Yeah, he never established himself as a runner. Ertz, he caught it
He took
and
4
took like
steps.
4 steps.
4 steps. I
before
counted.
getting
4 damn
contacted
steps.
by the defender and then was tripped up by the defender. Ask yourself this. If the defender is not there, does Ertz fall to the ground? No. He walks in. He already established himself as a runner. Therefore, as he's diving, the whole fumble rule about a ground not being able to cause a fumble, all of that, ball breaking the plane, all that applies. However, it's not the same as the Dez catch. Dez never established himself as a runner. He was falling down. Therefore, it's not the same. End. Done.
So Tony Montana, new friend here. He's my friend now after this comment. Phenomenal comment. Might be comment of the year. I'm actually screenshotting that.
Yes, love it.
He says, I know there are married men out there that are like, I would let Nick Foles bone my wife just so that we are closer to the Magic. And Gina, a.k.a. Bleeding Green 72 over here on the YouTube side, says, Tony Montana, classy statement. With that, I am out.
That's fantastic. And he's right. That's the thing is he's right.
And JT, he makes a good point. I was actually going to bring this up earlier. So talking about Nick Foles, he said, he could be a backup for 5 years, and he'll enjoy every second of it.
Yes.
Because he's a Philadelphia hero. He's already won the hearts of every single Eagles fan. He has nothing else to prove, basically. And then he said, imagine this. If Nick Foles, imagine the Foles perspective, he would be praised for the rest of his life in Philly, the rest of his football career in Philly. He'll be getting paid to be a backup. And my question to you guys is, say, for example, he stays in Philly to the end of the contract. Don't you think he might be even more valuable? Because the last moment people will remember is him in that Super Bowl and that playoff run.
Absolutely.
And he'll have a year just chilling.
Yep.
Nice and fresh. He's not old, just chilling. He's not a rookie, so you don't have to worry about inexperience. Mm-hmm. I still think the value would be there. And you know the market's going to be open for him.
Yeah.
And even if there's a trade midseason, like this is the kicker as well. What if someone goes down earlier and there's a trade? Like it's not even like we're talking here and people don't realize it. If you don't think Nick Foles should be on this team, you don't have to get rid of him before the season. There could be an opportunity to get big value for him if someone goes down in the middle of the season, or at least in the beginning.
Good
Sam Bradford, Teddy Bridgewater.
Yep.
Got the Eagles, Derek Barnett.
Yep.
And and not only that, think about like Sam Bradford got the Eagles a first-round pick. If that scenario, a similar scenario plays out with a competitive team, they're going to be able to get something really good for
And
Nick
it's not
Foles.
just because he won the Super Bowl. It's
because he played tremendously.
He played tremendously.
Again, I love real football fans. Kevin chimes in more Patriots fan.
Yeah.
Kevin Godwin, he says, my thoughts, both quarterbacks played top tier. O-line's held up. Defense needs to hit, not just grab with the hands out. Came down to late mistake, and that's what champions are made of. The ones who can capitalize on the hand dealt. Great win. Thank you, sir.
I have to read
a
this.
real fan.
So
real fan.
Nick,
He's a good guy.
Not Rob, who's telling us that it was luck.
Yeah, luck. Fortunate.
Fortunate.
I have to read this. So Nick Delgazzo, a.k.a. Sweeps from Agree Disagree.
Sweeps.
He just texted me saying, Bro Doe, I'm watching the show. Tell the boys, great job. I'm a dinosaur. No clue how to comment in the chat. Says my browser is outdated. Tell them I love taking a linebacker at 32. Hopefully Rashaan Evans, Malik Jefferson, or Jerome Baker is still there. Keep crushing it, boys.
Gosh.
Great show. Congrats on the win.
Yes.
Delgazzo.
To comment on that,
I defer to him. I haven't done any scouting yet, so.
Who's that, Delgazzo? Sweeps. I love Sweeps. He's so funny.
Rashaan Evans is getting a lot of hype right now. A lot of people think he's going to go. I think McShay actually had the Eagles taking him in his first mock.
Oh.
But he's kind of getting a lot of love right now. So like he might go early 20s. Then you have Malik Jefferson. I like a lot. I can't remember for the life of me what mock I just saw that had the Eagles taking Malik Jefferson at 32. I would love that pick. He would be a great outside, weak side linebacker to Jordan Hicks because he's a playmaker. He flies around. I would love that. Jerome Baker will definitely be there at 32. He slipped. A lot of people thought he was going to be a mid-first-round pick, and now he slipped to the point where a lot of people think he's going to be probably a second-round pick.
Tom said world fucking champions and daddy's home.
Hey!
I knew it.
Oh, there he is.
I knew it. I knew it.
There he is. You all right?
Yo, get the fuck in here. Get in here. Nobody can say a fucking word anymore.
I
you
knew
fucking
it.
did. I love your fucking video, by the way. I love your video. I fucking love all you. Let's fucking get in here, Paul. We fucking did it. We
knew
shut
it.
all of them up. All the haters are quiet.
World champions. Let's
Nobody's
go.
Nobody's even alive anymore. Somebody says Sam
Give us
Bradford
one on
alive.
the couch.
Somebody says Sam Bradford alive. That's a phenomenal comment. I don't think he is.
I knew it. Ryan's creeping over. I saw the daddy's
Creeping.
home comment, and I knew it.
Oh, it just feels good.
Welcome to the couch here,
man.
Birds
Oh,
of
my
Feather.
God.
Oh, my God.
Thomas
Love this
Arnone
man.
has joined us.
Love this
Unexpected and beautiful. Brother, we're on fire today, man.
I'm sure.
Facebook's going crazy. YouTube's going
Nuts,
crazy.
yeah.
We got good and bad Patriots fans chiming in here. You know, the sore losers and the realistic ones. And it's a lot of excitement here in Eagles Nation,
awesome.
brother. How you feeling?
I stand with Charles. I mean, from his video earlier that we threw up, you know, it hasn't hit quite yet.
No.
Right? I mean, it's hit,
Same.
but it hasn't.
Yeah.
And I think the parade will really bring it out, and I think over time it will sink in more and more for us, and it will hit home. I mean, it's hit home to the point where we can give one of these, and nobody can talk about, you know, ones and dones, and, you know, everybody.
No more no-ring memes.
Yeah, none of it. Like, NFL memes is done. We put them out of business. Ghetto Gronk is out of business. They're all out of business for one, and that's all we wanted. We just listen. We capitalized on the opportunity. It's the first team, and I know people said that Tom Coughlin didn't back down from Bill and Tom. It was a different game. This game on Sunday, when you go toe to toe with the two greatest of all time, and you play to win.
Yeah.
You played to win. I mean, you learn from everybody's mistakes that went up against Tom and Bill. You can't look across the field and get caught up in the mystique that they are. And for Nick, his first throw of the game, I mean, just his facial expression, I'm like, this doesn't even look like it phases him. The fact that he showed this was a huge benefit to that dude. A huge benefit to that dude. Listen, I said earlier, he can leave his kid on Broad Street Thursday, right in the middle of Broad Street, leave her there, and say, honey, I'm leaving you here, and 5 million people will take care of that kid for the rest of her life.
Yep.
She don't got to go to school. She don't got to work. She doesn't need nothing. She got a 401k set up by us to go fund. It's simple. Don't trade him. You trade him when you're in a rebuild.
Right.
When you need pieces. You're not in that position. You don't know Carson's health right now. That's your franchise guy. If Nick can be a starter for the first couple of weeks, get Carson right, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
There's no quarterback controversy here. There'll never be one.
Amen.
When you've seen Carson Wentz's first pass in a preseason game, there was never going to be a controversy on who the quarterback of this team is. And there isn't one now.
No, there's
none.
Absolutely
And
none.
them two love each other. I'm like, this is your guys' show.
Yeah.
I got everything off the
Yeah.
We have a request. We need you to say this. They want you to say that. In caps. Right there. You need to say that. Nick Foles was.
Nick Foles was slinging it, Daddy. I mean, all day he was slinging it. It's unbelievable. I mean, Corey Clement. I mean, this is how the curse ends.
Listen.
Like, Nelson Aguilar ran out of town. Brandon Graham ran out of town. Philly Jesus told us that we were taking him with the number 14 pick.
Yep.
He told us at the draft. Guess who? The ball fell into Derek Barnett's hands like God put it there. It doesn't bounce any better. You handed it off.
Yeah.
He was with us. I don't know what the fuck I believe in or what I don't, but I'll tell you what. If I didn't, I do now. Okay? And if you didn't, you have to now. Because, like I said, he sits upstairs. He's going to let the Red Sox and Cubbies get away with it. And he's not a realist enough to say, hey, you guys deserve this. This is the best fan base in sports.
Listen,
okay?
You said it on Saturday. Lombardi finally sat back. He's a realist and said, all right, there was enough time now. They can win theirs.
Yeah, the curse of Lombardi is over. And that's what it was. The only team that ever beat Lombardi in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That was our last championship. And when Lombardi passed, he said this to you. He said, I'm not letting you guys win another one. You ruined something I was going for. But, I'm just feel good.
It's crazy.
It is.
It's absolutely crazy.
I still sit here. I still can't believe it. I see, like I said, I see Nick Foles standing in next to freaking Mickey Mouse on a float, and I just can't wrap my brain around it. Like, how is this happening?
Is it a dream?
Yeah, it feels like it. I drank a lot that day, so I don't know. Maybe it was.
And Kevin, who is a Patriots fan, says start Foles 3 weeks, showcase the pass game, let Carson heal, better turnout, worth a first and third pick.
Kevin's a good guy.
Yeah, and I'm not even, like, the funny thing is, like, I'm not even there. You know, every year, I told somebody this in a group the other day, like, every year we talk about next season. And I'm not there. I don't want to talk about free agency. I don't want to talk about a goddamn draft. I don't want to talk about who's starting week one in any position.
Stephen Maroney, Foles said, oh, you have 5 check this shit out. Boom, I'm throwing all over you. And you sit in Butler, you fools. What's your opinion on that? The whole Malcolm Butler sitting him. Because, listen, first of all, that's Bill's ego in the way of that. That's one. 2, you tell the kid right before the game. You're not just shitting on him. You're shitting on the rest of your team. Nobody's prepared for that.
No, I mean, you're talking about Eric Rowe, who's more of a slot guy, and in different situations. Now he's got to be your number 2 corner, and that changes your whole defense
It changes everything.
And the ego got in the way, Chrome. That's the best way to say it. I mean, for year after year, the ego never got in the way. The trading of Jamie Collins, the trading of different guys who play too much PlayStation or whatever the case is, always worked out for the Patriots.
Now,
the dynasty is over, and I'm going to tell you why the dynasty is over. Because there is tension from up top and Bill Belichick. They went behind his back and traded Jimmy Garoppolo. Bill Belichick's whole MO from the day one of the New England Patriots was there's always going to be somebody else younger ready to take your spot. And that's how we're going to keep a dynasty rolling. Well, this is the first time in the history of the Patriots that wasn't the case, where they let a young guy go who's your future starter.
And listen, like I compare it to when you had Green Bay, who had Favre and Aaron Rodgers sitting all that time. I don't know that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on the level of Aaron Rodgers. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be a ball player in this league.
Yeah.
And that, like you said it perfectly, that's how you keep the dynasty going another 5 to 10 years. Next, that you get youth must be served in this league.
Yeah.
And when he hits that wall, he's going to hit it hard, and it's going to be a huge decline. And Bill does have enough vision to know we got to be ready for the next step. It's so short-sighted what they did there.
It is.
And I think that's created a dissension there to where now you got Robert Kraft and his old ass, who's looking older and older every year now, stepping in. It's almost Jerry Jones-ish, to where, like, you're an owner. Stay up there.
There's a reason.
Let the men on the field, let the decision makers make the decision.
There's a reason he handled decisions all this time. There's a reason they have 5 rings. There's a reason they're a dynasty because they let Bill be Bill. They let him shop for the groceries and call the play and cook the dinner. I mean, they let him do that, and their credit, he got it done. The sit Malcolm Butler is a joke. And if I'm a Patriots fan, I'm furious over a little bit of weed and a curfew. It's not right. You're wrong, but sit him a quarter. Sit in the first drive.
That's what I said. Sit in the first half.
You don't sit.
Sit in the first half if you have to.
I gave the Patriots an edge in their secondary because of Malcolm Butler and Stephon Gilmore and Devin McCourty. The second Malcolm, and I like Eric Rowe, but the second Malcolm Butler's out, that's our bad.
That's what I said. And it's talking about ego. That was his last game as a Patriot either way for Malcolm Butler.
Yeah, because he's free agent.
He was done. He was leaving the team. So just suck it up for one game. Let the kid play. Put your best team out there and try to win the game. It just made no sense to do that when you only he's not. He'll be somebody else's problem next year.
Exactly.
It already happened. It's over with. Just play the game and put the best players out there.
We won a world championship with guys that were ran out of here.
Yep.
We won a world championship with a Nelson Aguilar who was ran out, who did nothing but make big plays in that game.
Brandon Graham.
We ran out Brandon Graham, who was a bust, and Earl Thomas, and we missed that pick.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles ran out of town.
Patrick Robinson not here, but
not good enough somewhere. Alshon Jeffrey considered not good enough to a lot of places. All these guys considered not good enough. Jay Ajayi, he's a problem. He's a locker room guy. And I said it when you signed him. When you bring him into a culture that's a real family, that's going to change, and you saw it. There was never an issue. The guy was upset because he fumbled a football. That's why you win games.
Right.
When all them guys don't care about how many touches you get, 36, how many LeGarrette gets, how many touches Nelson or Alshon gets. All they cared about from day one was wins.
And that's another name, LeGarrette Blount, who essentially was thrown away by New England because
Chris
Long. Another guy. I mean, the list goes on.
It's like the 93 Phillies, but
Torrey
they finished.
Smith, everybody said
That's what I said earlier today.
Did you say that?
Not only that, they're so likable. My God, they are such a damn likable.
They make me like Meek Mill. I don't like Meek Mill. I feel like free Meek. I'm going to get him out. I know some people. I fucking love you guys. I just can't believe we're having this conversation. All we kept asking for was one more week.
Mike Parker says, I want to ask Carson if he can let me sit in on team Bible study through Skype so I can become a disciple.
I love it.
Congrats on his engagement, by the way. Mr. Wentz over there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Get engaged.
Everybody gets a ring.
Everyone gets a ring.
You know who I'm so happy for, too? A guy like Brent Selleck.
Oh, my God.
He's been for this team for so long.
Love
through good,
Brent Selleck.
Then through bad, through the good and bad of Andy, a lot of the bad through Chip, and then the last 2 years building to this moment.
Talk about a guy that one of the
embraced
guys
his reduced role when it came as well.
He epitomizes. He's one of those that epitomizes the city. Hard worker, blue collar, just does his job.
He represents what a team player is.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
He, as a starter in his younger days, was so sure-handed, so productive. We talk about Yak all the time.
Oh God!
He was a stud for that.
He was one of the top. He was one of the top 5 tight ends in the NFC.
Absolutely.
In his prime.
And when the time came, and again, you talk about guys who realize, all right, the skills are diminishing, accepted his reduced role.
Absolutely.
And has done so much in the little bit of time that he's had on the field and in the locker room.
Yes.
And to have a guy like him sitting behind Ertz all this time and kind of helping to continue to groom him to what he's become, can't be happier for a guy.
And what I love, too, before the playoffs started, I remember there was a story that came out that Doug had all the guys who had won a Super Bowl talk to the entire team.
I was about to bring that
all
up.
the guys who won Super Bowls and Brent Selleck. Because Brent Selleck was there to tell them, like, yo, you might never get this opportunity again. So let's go after it and let's try to win it. Because he made his second season or his rookie season when they made the NFC Championship? Second season. Yeah. And he made the NFC Championship game. And it's one of those things, and it's like a cliche thing. They all say, like, oh, you think you're going to be in it every year. And you really do, because you think, all right, I have this really successful coach, and I have this franchise quarterback. And then disaster strikes, and you don't have that. Mm-hmm. And now with Doug Peterson, he built this great culture back up, and here we are. It's insane.
And somebody says, do you think that John Skeel asks, do you think that Selleck retires? I think he retires after this.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I would be.
I do. And
I hate to say it would actually benefit the Eagles if he did retire.
Yeah.
They could save some money.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking to get, I think we're, $9 million over the cap now?
Yeah.
So they asked for us 4 to vote, and we'll throw Ryan's in. It'll be the tiebreaker. Do you release Torrey Smith? I say no.
I say yes.
And I like Torrey, but I say yes only because of the money.
Yeah. Because of what, $5 million?
Yeah, $5
I don't know what his cap hit is.
It's $5 million.
$5 million.
Is it 5?
It's like 5 point
team
something.
option each year.
Well, they may.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Matt Collins on the roster now, so.
Matt Collins. I keep hearing, and I'm saying I'm choosing it, but I keep hearing that it's going to be either Matt Collins or Marcus Johnson's going to be.
I just feel like his leadership is so valuable.
Me
And
too.
if we're going for another
Me
one.
too.
Is it the more guys
That's
you
why I
can
like
keep
him as a
that
leader.
want.
I hear you.
like him.
But my thing is, it's the thing with like the Phillies after they won the World Series. You can't keep everybody.
No.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna sign. Someone's gonna get a bigger contract, or somewhere else. You can't afford.
we know
Especially in football, you
But
can't.
if I'm
afford
looking
to keep
at it,
everybody.
Bradham's probably going to go.
Yeah, Bradham's probably going.
I don't want him to, but I don't think they're going to bring LeGarrette back.
I keep saying
Probably
Trey Burton's.
I don't think Trey Burton's going to be back,
back, yeah.
unfortunately. Somebody's going to throw money at Trey Burton.
Yeah,
Listen,
some
they're
of
going to
yeah.
win it again next year. I
I
hope
wouldn't
we
be
keep this
surprised.
clip right now because they're going to win it again next year. I mean, you can write that down, put it in your notes in your iPhone right
Wentz
this second, and I'll tell you what.
Well, I said that, that's why I
it's all
said
because
Saturday.
of that photo.
We don't push the parade back to next year because we got a second parade to plan for next year.
Maybe 10 mil at that one. But the point is, all them guys in that photo, the IR photo, which could be a Pro Bowl, we talked about that on Saturday.
They want in.
They want in. And I think the best thing for Carson was experiencing it but not being able to play in it.
Oh, he's hungry.
And he's
He
a
wants
hungry
it.
he's a hungry guy to begin with. I mean, we
Yeah.
know his work ethic. It changed the culture of the entire locker room,
Yeah.
right? So now I look at him like, man, I didn't get that. Like my guys got it. I love my guys, but I want to be on that
You
podium
want-
hoisting it. I want to be the MVP, and not in a
Exactly.
selfish reason, in a gamer
The
reason.
competitor.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now the
Yeah.
narrative that
I mean,
I did
Peter's
hear-
saying he's not done. Sorry, like Peter's saying, I
Yeah.
want back again.
Yeah.
You know, Sproles wanting back again. Like all these guys want to come back because it's bigger than everything.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Now the narrative that did piss me off yesterday that I heard was some people saying, "Well, Carson technically didn't win the Super Bowl."
Oh God, I hate I called that
Carson, the
weeks
guy
ago. It drives
who
me
played
nuts.
at an MVP level the entire season, and for all intents and purposes, still could have won the MVP with the numbers he put up by the end of the year. All he had to do was stay on the roster and healthy. Unfortunately, couldn't. He's not considered a guy who won us the Super Bowl. That's the guy that got us there, homie.
11-2.
Yes. Oh my God,
He is
11-2.
just as big of a winner
Exactly.
as Nick Foles was for this football team.
This was if I could split that Super Bowl MVP
Yeah, it's
trophy
come.
in half, it's Foles and Wentz. Like I've been harping this because I saw it coming. If we won with Foles, people were gonna the media. I'm not talking about us Philly.
No,
fans.
it's media.
I'm talking
I
about
haven't heard
media.
anybody here say it.
Media were
Remember
gonna
that?
push aside Wentz, and I can't stand that. Wentz is the face of the franchise. He is the reason we are here winning this Super Bowl. There is no way we are lifting this Lombardi trophy without Wentz. Because of his play, because of his development this year, his MVP level, his work ethic, like you said, he raised that offense, that whole team to this
To believe in.
to believe in something, to
The
play at such a
swagger
high
and
level.
confidence
Everything.
that this
It
team
was
had
Wentz. This
was
Wentz.
built on Carson Wentz's
Crump,
shoulders.
I said
on
this
his
when
fucking back.
when he went down that Wednesday night when we did a show. I sat here and said, "Watch this son of a bitch go win a Super Bowl." and become Super Bowl MVP, and jabrones are going to start talking about quarterback controversy.
Exactly.
I smelled it because it just had all the makings
Yeah.
of what Philly is.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we win the whole thing, and our 25-year-old franchise quarterback, who I'll say it right now is the best quarterback in football.
I
Okay,
agree.
and you come talk to me in a dark alley about that one because you're going to lose it. All right, but he's the best quarterback in football. There's no quarterback controversy. Listen,
No.
when you said co-MVP, it's the greatest thing ever said because he helped raise Nick Foles' level. Him being there, going over game plans with him, with all the coaching staff, they all helped raise his level.
He was still the first one in the building studying tape. Like, come on.
Can't even walk.
Like, come on. You're talking about, like, an MVP level coach now who's on the sideline, like, giving Foles, like, pointers and helping him with game plans. Guys, this is Wentz's team still. This is Wentz's Super Bowl. And he is going to want to come
Nick
back.
Foles said as much.
Yeah.
Nick Foles said this is Carson Wentz's team.
And Hunter Shannon asks us, he says, who's all of your favorite players on this year's roster? And then he also
So hard
adds
to
in,
pick.
and that shit, talking about with people with Carson, and he says, that shit made me mad. Then not only that, but they said Nick could replace him, and I was like, go kill yourself.
Yeah, stop. It drives me
But-
nuts. I'm sorry. Like, it
So,
really makes me mad.
I'm going to pick one defensive player this year and one offensive player this year. I mean, I love the whole team. But if I look back, so when I look at championship teams and guys, or guys who join the roster, I always look at guys and say, man, it would be great for them, whether they're here for a year or they're here for 12 years. Guys that, like, when I go back and I look and I can say, that guy won a championship with my team. For me, it's LeGarrette Blount. I've always been a huge LeGarrette Blount fan. And when they signed LeGarrette Blount, everybody shit on that signing. And I felt like that guy has something in the tank on this team that he could contribute here that we haven't seen in years.
I shit on it because people thought he was going to come in here and carry the ball 25 times a game, and I was just letting people know with the most carries in football
Right.
at over 30 years old, that ain't going to be the case.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
not going to take us to a Super Bowl carrying our running game.
25, yeah.
Right. That was
Exactly.
all my point was, like,
Yeah.
can he get 10 a game, 8 a game?
Sure.
And that's what they
That's
did.
where it is, yeah,
and
that's
that's
right.
Howie. And
They handled it perfectly.
here, I'm going to
And
say my guys. I want you guys to finish. I'm going to get out of here
Yeah.
and let you guys, because I'm too excited and I got plenty of shows to do. We'll see each other freaking Thursday, and we'll just
Love
hug.
this
Like, I
guy.
might just hug. I might hug this son of a bitch more than my wife. Like, his video, like, was I should have put that on A2D. I don't, I know you weren't like,
You had my
you didn't know how you
permission
feel
if
about it,
you
but
wanted
that was everybody.
Yeah.
That was everybody. Every person. My favorite guy on offense is Nelson. I like workers, man. I like guys who
Love
overcome
Nelson, yeah.
things. That matters. I mean, Carson's the guy who overcame things in his life. When he was 16, 17 years old, he was a nobody. He was a nobody. When he was playing North Dakota State, he was a nobody for most of the time. And he's a guy who had to work hard, but that's Nelson. To put it together, that makes me love Nelson Aguilar. And I'll go to the defense side of the football. And I love Brandon Graham, too. If you ever meet Brandon Graham, he's a great dude, too.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
a great guy. My neighbor talks to him all the time. He's that cool of a guy. And he's a guy who was doubted. I like doubters. I mean, people doubted me my whole life in sports, different things, whatever. And I like guys who overcome. Because to me, they're the winners. They're the reason we're here. If Nelson doesn't take a step forward, if Brandon Graham doesn't put it together over the last 3 years, we're not in this spot. If Fletcher Cox played like a $100 million man, and that's
Sure
all
did.
I got. And we've been begging for it, and that's credit to Howie and realizing you need to keep these guys fresh, and Joe Douglas, and it just goes top to
and
bottom.
down,
When
right.
you win a world championship in any sport, you need to be cohesive from top to bottom, and from a team that wasn't 3 years ago, and from a complete, structure that was broken, where people weren't talking to each other. Players didn't know if they should who they should talk to. Owner, GM, coach. Who do I listen to?
Yeah.
That was 3 years ago.
Yeah, oh my
Yeah.
God.
And for a guy to come in and change that whole culture, man, thank you, Andy Reid, for Doug Peterson. Thank you, Don Shula. Thank you, Dan Marino. Thank you, Mike Holmgren. Thank you,
Favre.
Brett Favre. Thank you, Donovan McNabb, because Donovan deserves this too. There's a lot of hate on Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb's a goddamn winner. And don't listen to Freddie Mitchell and Terrell Owens, because they're both losers, and they talk like loser talk. That's how losers talk, when they hate on a guy 15 years from when the guy, all he did, I'll go back and take them years every day and twice on Sunday. Would you not?
Absolutely.
The heartbreak, now you can say it easy.
Yeah, now you can see it.
Freaking love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your show. Go as long as you
Thanks, brother.
freaking want. I don't care. Go to 12 o'clock at night for all I care.
By the way, Chip Kelly got one thing right. Culture does beat scheme, just not his culture.
Not his culture.
Exactly. Amen to that. Amen to that. What was the question? Oh, favorite players.
So my defensive,
Go ahead,
and
yeah.
again, it's guys that 10 years, 20 years from now, I'm going to look back and say, I'm so glad that guy was a part of this team. Defensively, Malcolm Jenkins. Because I feel like Malcolm Jenkins, we talked about those years, the Andy years, and guys like Brian Dawkins, Hall of Famer, congratulations, going into the Hall of Fame, the leadership, the voice in the locker room, on the field. Malcolm Jenkins, to me, has been almost the equivalent to that year in and year out since he's been here. To me, he's been Brian Dawkins 2.0.
Yep.
Nothing will ever be the original, but I love guys with that kind of fire.
And
it's hearing him in the locker room every week talking and just getting everybody together after Doug talks and just bringing that cohesiveness together. Both the offense and the defense.
Yeah.
And the leadership on the field. When you hear, like, his mic'd up clips and stuff, that dude's a fucking baller.
Yeah.
And I love Malcolm Jenkins so much, and I appreciate even just his stuff off the field and everything he contributes to the community. I'm proud to say that the first Eagles championship team, that guy was the leader of the defense.
Yep. It's funny because you brought up Doc, because when he laid out Brandon Cooks, my first thought
was Brian Dawkins.
Was the algae crumpler.
Yeah.
That was my first thought. And it was a tone setter. That was the first thing I thought of when he laid Brandon Cooks' ass out.
Oh, yeah.
It was my first thought. But, yeah, if you want to go, Charles, or your guys.
Well, defense, I agree with you. It's Jenkins. I remember when we signed him from New Orleans, a lot of people, and I'll even refer to ESPN, rated him as the lowest rated safety in free agency. And I have known, like, I was a fan of Jenkins. I was like, this guy's versatile as hell. Like, how is he rated so low? I love this signing. And that was a year that people wanted Jairus Byrd. And I was like, whoa.
And that's a good
Jairus
point.
Byrd,
And I hope that Tom heard that one there. That's a great point. Talk about adversity. When Malcolm Jenkins was signed, that was rated as the lowest rated free agent signing of the year when the Eagles signed him.
People wanted Jairus Byrd. You remember? So
they got shit on all over for that Malcolm Jenkins signing, and that dude has come in here and led this fucking defense year in and year out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's
he wasn't
good enough.
Yep. He came in and he's, like you said, became the leader. So I on defense, my favorite player is Malcolm Jenkins. Offense, as it's a draw between Ajayi and Nelson Aguilar for me. Ajayi, for reason you guys know, mean running backs, and I've always been a fan. For years ago when Ajayi came in,
he loves running backs that wear the number 36.
Yes, he does.
Ajayi, I've been a fan of his game. I've broken down his game. You guys know. But for me, I've also it's also Nelson because of what Tom said. The guy who was written off by most of the fan base, who said get him out of town. I was part of the minority that still believed in Nelson Aguilar and was like, it's just mental. Just if he can get rid of all these demons in his head, he can be so fucking good. So good. He has all the talent in the world. And I still believe that he could do that. And to see him come out this year and have the breakout year he had, I said it on Saturday at the Roundtable show. You asked me, Nelson Aguilar already is a top 5 slot wide receiver and ascending. In a couple year or two, to me, he can be the premier slot wide receiver in the league.
Absolutely.
So I love – and Nelson Aguilar, work ethic is right there with Carson Wentz's. First one in the building, last one out. So it's a tie between him and Ajayi.
What do you got, Paul?
So my first thought would be Malcolm Jenkins too, but since you guys both said it and you pretty much said everything there is to say about everything Malcolm Jenkins is as a football player and as a man in general and as a human being, I'm gonna say a little bit of a surprise one. Chris Long, dude.
Not a surprise. Chris Long was my number 2. Chris Long was my number 2.
My God, I love Chris Long.
I hope they bring him back.
I do too.
I think he comes back. I think his cap hit is so low, and what he brings again as a
if he doesn't retire, because I could see him retire.
That's not impossible either. You're right. But as a football player, he had huge moments, especially in the NFC Championship game in the divisional round. He was huge strip sack in the Rams game. As a football player, as a leader of this football team, who he took that role seamlessly. I remember when the Eagles, when they released Connor Barwin, my biggest fear was, man, how are they going to replace Connor Barwin as a leader? This guy came in, and I think might actually even had a bigger impact than Connor Barwin did.
I think he did.
And I
love Connor Barwin.
Exactly.
We all love Connor Barwin.
Connor Barwin was great for this team, and that's why it's so insane to say that. I think Chris Long and then like not only that, like obviously everything with he played for free this year.
Yeah.
He like some people would be like,
every game check this year.
Like, oh yeah, well he made a lot of money. He had a big, he was the number 2 overall pick. Yada yada. He's got plenty of money. His dad was a football player. But I don't give a shit. He gave away money.
Mm-hmm.
He earned that money he played every week and showed up every week, and he earned that money. But he gave it away to a better cause.
Steve Maroney said Chris Long epitomized being a man on and off the
Oh
field.
my God! Absolutely. And here's the other thing too. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's funny as
so
hell.
funny.
He might be my favorite Twitter follow of anybody on the Eagles. He's hilarious.
Like with the Lazies on the wrestling show, we give out the Twitter King of the Year.
Yeah.
If I was to pick an Eagles,
Chris Long.
an Eagles Twitter King of the Year, it's easily Chris Long.
Easily.
Fantastic. He's entertaining. He is so engaging on his Twitter.
Yes.
Absolutely. Hey,
And
he engaged A2D and shared that
shared
one.
their video.
Yeah.
That's true. I wasn't even thinking
He's
about
always on our Instagram.
Yeah,
That's
he's always
awesome.
on our
That's
Instagram.
great,
So
That's cool.
He's that's not a crazy pick.
No, but
Chris Long's my number 2 defensive guy. So
Yeah.
you're right.
So on offense, I'm gonna pull what Charles put on defense and cheat a little bit and pick 2 guys. So my first one is Alshon.
Mm-hmm.
I say for a couple different reasons. I mean,
I
one
know
of,
where you're going at.
like we talked about with this, a guy who has overcome a lot of stuff. People said, "Oh, he's not playing on the other side of Brandon Marshall." Yada yada yada. Had to take a 1-year deal because no one wanted to throw long-term money at him.
1-year show me deal.
So he took a 1-year show me deal and he showed it. He developed a chemistry with Carson Wentz. The other thing is too, man, for a guy who had I don't know how founded it was, but who had a reputation for maybe not being the greatest practice player, for not necessarily having a great attitude. All year, all he talked about was winning. When he got here, they asked, why did you come here? Because I wanted to win, and I think Carson Wentz is going to be an MVP caliber player, which he did turn out to be this year.
Yeah.
This year. So, I mean, he just said all the right things, did all the right things all year. And then I don't know if you guys saw this, but it was amazing. He did an interview with a local news outlet.
I did. It was funny.
Where they asked him, and they were trying to get ask him these fluff questions. He's basically like, "No, this sucks. I don't want to be
Oh
here.
yeah.
This is all.
We put that up this morning.
Dude,
Yeah.
this is all bullshit. If it were up to me, we would have practiced in Philly the last 2 days and came here on Friday. And he said the guy said something about Justin Timberlake. He's like, I don't care. He's like, he's a man just like me. And I'm like, and he just said, I don't give a shit about any of this. I'm like, oh my God, this guy. He's like, I came here to play a football game. I'm like, wow, like this guy,
And
that blows me. For a guy who. Who knows if it was founded or not, who had sort of a reputation for maybe not being the greatest teammate in the world, he was nothing but this year.
But you also talk about a guy who, when he signed here, people said, well, he's saying what he needs to say. All the stuff about Carson, all the stuff about taking the 1-year deal here. He said that he wanted to be here. He wanted to play with Carson Wentz because he believes he could be the next great quarterback in the league. And then he went and he signed the extension. And not only did he sign the extension, I think on the open market he could have got more money.
100%.
Possibly.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
He got paid.
Right.
But he signed a deal here, what I would consider a team-friendly deal for the output he had, what other teams would have paid him. And to me, that backed up everything he said from day one when he came
Did
here.
you see the catches he was making? Not only in the Super Bowl, but all playoffs. But even if you just look at the Super Bowl, his touchdown catch. Oh my God!
Yeah.
And then the one over the shoulder grab.
Yeah.
Where it's,
yeah.
My God! That is wide receiver one type catches.
So then the cheat, my other guy would be Zach Ertz, and here's why I say Zach Ertz.
His wife.
Yeah.
How many years has there been? This is the Zach Ertz breakout year. We were waiting for it. I'd say that catching the game-winning touchdown counts as a breakout season. Even regardless of the fact that he just had a career year, was phenomenal.
That's the way
he
cap it,
finally
brother.
had a quarterback for 2 years in a row with Carson. He got Nick Foles back, who he had before. And to this guy who was a highly touted player, everyone was waiting for him to blow up. He did. And I just think he rose to the occasion. He was always solid. And it was always like, oh, yeah, you do it in December when it doesn't count. Well, guess what? He did it when it counted.
Well, now in the offseason, he just has to work on his yak, right?
All right.
Oh,
Come
here we
on.
go.
Game-winning touchdown, dude.
There we go.
Game-winning touchdown.
I had to get it in there. I had to get one in there.
And I'll admit,
Mr. Yak.
before the season,
Listen, I love
another
Ertz. I'm
another
just
crow eating thing. I said, Ertz is always going to be. I feel like he's never going to be elite. He'll always be right under it. I'm eating crow. He's now an elite.
Think
tight
about
end.
this. How many elite tight ends are there in the NFL?
Not
Not many.
4? and he's one of them.
He's one of them.
Him, Greg
By
Olson,
far.
Gronk,
And
Travis
Kelsey.
Kelce.
and Kelsey.
That's it.
That's the top.
Greg
Evan-
Olsen can't
Evan
even stay on the
Ingram-
field either.
Yeah, Evan Ingram
Greg
is
Olson's
rising. He's a rising player.
Healthy.
But
Not there yet. Not
yeah,
there yet.
not there yet. And so-
Delaney Walker's declining. Greg Olson is declining.
yeah.
If
so
you
it's-
want to say Travis Kelce, you want to say Zach Ertz and Gronk, you can say those three.
and
and
then
that's
Gronk
it.
might retire.
He might
so-
retire.
And when
Yeah.
he does play, he
I
really
think what's his
doesn't
name in
play
Tampa
because
Bay
he's
will be
hardly
good.
on the field.
Yeah.
I think what's his name in Tampa Bay will end up being
O.J. Howard.
AJ.
O.J.
He will
Howard's
be,
a
but
player.
he's not there yet. Yeah.
He's
And
not there yet, but
so
I think he'll be a top 5.
We're still talking our favorite players
yeah.
on both offense and defense.
Yeah. Who's your guy this year?
Well, I'll piggyback off of what you said, Paulie. It's absolutely on the defense. It's Chris Long. It's absolutely.
Love
I mean,
it.
I love Fletcher. I love Brandon Graham, but the stuff off the field with Chris Long. Obviously, it's storybook how he was not paid. He literally gave away all of his money this year. He played for free, and just what he does for a locker room, and he's funny as hell, like we've talked about. So it's absolutely Chris Long. For offense, and he's up there. Like I'm obviously skipping over Wentz and Foles, but this man is not too far below them. It's absolutely Corey Clement. It's absolutely Corey Clement. Absolutely.
Yeah, make sure you correct that last name
Yeah, I know.
pronunciation.
Clement.
I'm just helping out.
Because, and I'll go back, and I'm not by any means, I'm not saying this because I'm like, oh my God, I called it because he wasn't the leading rusher, he wasn't the number one back on the Eagles, he wasn't any of that. But back before, right after they drafted him, and before they officially signed him, and kept him, because there were rumors going up until, preseason that he wasn't even going to make the
Oh
team.
yeah,
He was
because
gonna
they
get
wanted to
cut.
keep Humphrey. Yeah.
yeah.
And I remember every Wednesday I would get in arguments on my show, and I kept saying, you need to keep this guy. There's something different about him.
Me and Charles went back and forth on him a lot.
Yeah.
To
I
where
argue with people
I
too.
was wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, crow about him.
I
I'll
know
say
you
every
did, you
week.
did.
He's becoming one of my favorite players.
To
I
where
love it.
Tom and the guys on my show have been saying for months, like, dude, like, you were probably like how Tom was like, oh my God, the Eagles are going to win guy. Like, I was the Corey Clement guy. So you got me screwed up over there. I'm calling him Corey Clement, all right?
There it is.
There you
That's
go.
right. You got it.
I
Yeah,
got
you
it?
right.
Yeah, that's it.
that's
See,
right.
I'm
That's
in
it.
my own head. But the way he's been a factor on this team, undrafted, okay? And obviously going back to where my high school team played him.
Yeah.
His high school team played us. That goes back years and years, and I'll never forget that. It's just, I look at him, and he's still a rookie. I honestly think, and you could say it's a hot take, you can say, oh, you're just living in the moment. He will be a superstar for the Eagles. He will be a star to
That's
where
old.
You're not the only one that's saying that.
because
You're not.
I went when right after this past draft, I went on the air the next night and I said, you will remember this draft not as the Derek Barnett draft, but as the Sidney Jones draft, which you still could.
Yeah.
And you can obviously remember as the Derek Barnett draft because he looks like he's going to be a star. Arguably, and this might not even technically be allowed to be a thing, you can look back on that draft as the Corey Clement draft, and he wasn't even drafted.
Mm-hmm.
He was signed as an undrafted free agent,
Yep.
and he became a star in big moments for this Eagles
Huge
team.
moments.
He caught that catch as a running back.
Yeah.
He's not a receiver. He's a
Wheel
running
route.
back. He can do special teams. He can be the third down back. He can catch. He can run. He's one of the best route runners I've seen in quite a while, especially for a guy that's a rookie. Just all the things that he can do. My God. The fact that Howie Roseman took this guy and stuck with him and just been like, oh, he was a free
Who
agent.
knows?
We didn't draft him, so we don't have anything in him, so we're just going to let him go, and we're going to keep Donnell Pumphrey. You know what I'm saying?
Who?
Such a bad
Exactly.
Half
terrible
Filipino guy?
Corey Clement will be a star for years to come.
You're not one of the guys that I follow a lot on social media and in his podcast, Adam Lefkoe, the guy who said, oh, the Eagles are the 1990 New York Giants. That guy, he also has been saying that he believes Corey Clement can be a stud running back in the league. And I'm eating crow on him, and I will gladly eat crow because he is becoming, for all the reasons you said, Ryan, he's becoming one of my favorite players on this team. To see his improvement is phenomenal from going from the preseason to now. And what this season has done for me as a running back aficionado, I used to believe in, okay, the best way to have a running back is to have a feature guy. You have to have a main guy.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. This has changed my viewpoint where I believe you can win both ways. And if you have a stud duo or a trio in the backfield to keep them all fresh, you can win that way too. And going forward, whether if we are going off the premise that we're not keeping Blunt, I think you have this duo of Ajayi and Clement. You're talking about one of the premier duos, running back duos in the league that can challenge. And you can take this as a hot take if you want. That can challenge the duo of Ingram and Kamara. That can challenge.
I don't think that's crazy
duo
at all.
of Freeman and Coleman as the premier running back duos. And the thing is, you see a Saints running back duo of Kamara and Ingram who have chemistry and love to feed off each other. They love seeing each other be successful. The reason why I believe our duo can be that way, why Ajayi and Clement can be that way, is because they have the same mentality. They love seeing each other do well.
And there's people. Hey, listen, people in the chat are agreeing. I do believe that they can be on the par with
Kamara Ingram.
Kamara and Ingram, I think I still put them definitely.
I would put them ahead too.
Oh, I know.
To me, they set the standard.
They're ridiculous, yeah.
But when you're talking about Atlanta's backs,
I
absolutely
Freeman
think today I put them up against Atlanta's backs.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well,
and especially when you have Carson Wentz as the quarterback to guide these guys in their situations on the field. Absolutely, I'll take our two guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say this with just sorry, Ron, I cut you up.
No, you're good.
With
Gene
Corey.
is eating some meatballs and pasta. I'm a little jealous. Save me some.
That sounds good. With Corey, when I was doing the draft stuff, Corey was one of the guys. Like at one point, I just kind of like had him as like one of my like prospect watches. I had him in there. I thought for sure he was getting drafted. I thought for sure he was going to get drafted.
I kept hearing that too.
Here's the thing, and I said it in the thing in the blurb because I love to go back and like read that shit sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I went back and read the blurb and said, with how deep this class is, he might get lost in the shuffle, and that's exactly what happened. This running back class was historically deep, ridiculous,
So
crazy
good,
deep,
yeah.
and he just got lost in it. And people thought he was a product of his system because Wisconsin, that was what they do. They're a power running team. And they haven't had a lot. They have had some, but not a lot of successful backs coming out of Wisconsin because they're a product of their system. One of the labels I heard of him, all he can do is get what's blocked for.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about that. When you have a really good offensive line, that's what you need. You need a guy – because here's what people underestimated about Corey Clement. Vision, patience.
Yes.
And J.J. is a great running back. Corey Clement has better patience and better vision than J.J.
I've studied them. Yes,
those
that
are
is
two
100%
traits
accurate.
that you cannot teach somebody. You either have that or you don't. And Corey Clement has it. So I think, to your point, Ryan, I think he showed that he could be more than what he was this year. Mm-hmm. And like you said, Charles, I think next year they go in with Ajayi, Clement, and Darren Sproles in the backfield next year.
That's scary.
I think that is their trio going into next season, and I love it.
Yeah.
And Stephen Maroney, literally, as you were saying these points, was chiming in the same things at the same time. Because he put Clement was a stud at Wisconsin, but was scouted with poor hands and poor pass blocking, but proved everybody wrong.
That system was there's no running back that could be from that system, and you could say, yeah, that guy's totally going to be a good pass catcher and a good pass protector. But again, to his credit and to Deuce Staley's credit, he turned into it.
Exactly. And I was listening to an interview that who was on it? Melvin Gordon was his teammate at Wisconsin, and he vouches for Clement. He's like, I'm telling you guys, Clement, he said in college, he called it. He said that Clement is more suited for the pro game than the college game.
And some guys are
his
like
skill set translates so well. And he said, I'm telling you, Clement is going to be a stud.
Tony Montana dropped something in here, and he just did it, because I was going to read like another comment, but this one might have just completely effed me up. So my 99-year-old grandfather, Phil, who lives in Philadelphia Phil. No. Did you hear that story?
Yeah.
Like Philadelphia Phil.
I know.
Is that – he's saying my 99-year-old – is that the same person?
Ask him.
Do we have the grandson of 99-year-old Philadelphia Phil in the chat?
Let's find out.
Because he said, my 99-year-old grandfather, Phil, turning 100 in March, has lived in Philadelphia since 1918. He has never seen an Eagles Super Bowl. Looks like we have the Battle of the Centenarians. He says he turns 100 in March, and man, 1918, that's crazy. That story really got me.
What's his birthday in
And I was
March?
like, win it for Phil.
I did hear this story. When's his birthday in March? I'm March, too, so I'm curious
it
if it's the same birthday.
Tony Montana, you might have just dropped a bomb in here. If we have the grandson of Philadelphia Phil in here.
That's a big deal. That's a huge
wow.
deal.
Why not this?
I was while I wait for him to respond, I was going to read some of these because they're flying in here. So
Yeah.
Renee chimes in.
Oh my gosh, Renee!
She's saying a lot. She said Corey is definitely one of my favorites, and he's homegrown.
Yes.
He's an Eagles fan and loves this team and city.
No, he was
he wasn't an Eagles.
He was a Dallas. He was a Dallas.
Really?
Fan.
He was a
Yeah.
Cowboys
Are you
fan
sure?
growing up.
Yeah, he's
Then
a
he
Cowboys fan.
lied completely on Jimmy Kimmel last night because he said he grew up as an Eagles.
Well,
fan.
no, he said he just grew up in Philly. He didn't say he was an
Yeah.
Eagles fan.
No, I've heard him say he's a Cowboys fan.
Yeah,
though.
Really?
He was a
Yeah.
Cowboys fan.
Cowboys
Well,
fan.
he might not be
I
my
know that's
favorite.
I know it's a little heartbreaking. Hey,
Hey, we
100
converted.
100 yards in the
We
Super Bowl,
converted.
Ryan.
Yeah,
That's all that
exactly. He made the
matters.
catch. He made the catch.
It's okay. Hey, you know what? Brian Westbrook was a Redskins fan when he was growing
Good
up.
point.
We converted him.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all
all
that
good.
matters.
So-
All
Yeah,
that
ask
matters.
Charles anything about Brian Westbrook.
Yeah, I'm serious. Anything about Brian Westbrook, I'll know it.
So
You can ask him what underwear he wears.
Foolish
I don't want to
Demon.
know.
Foolish Demon said the Eagles are America's daddy. Declaration of Independence was signed in Philly.
This is true. These are facts. This is a nice history lesson we're getting here.
Let's see. There's so many. TTP Ballin chimes in, giving us the EAGLES Eagles chant. What's going on, TTP? Renee said, I love Chris Long. I just love this team, my favorite of all Eagles teams. Not just because of the Super Bowl. I've been saying it all season, and they sealed the deal on Sunday.
They're just
This
like
might be
a
my-
bunch of likable dudes, man. They really are.
Listen,
Love
I've
him.
said it before. I'm not a 4-for-4 guy because baseball. I'm a Cardinals fan, and I've seen some pretty amazing teams.
Whatever.
It's all right.
2011 was a team to remember, and you don't get it if you're not a Cardinals fan. But it was as improbable as that was and likable as that team was. Of all sports, this is the most likable, enjoyable team in any sport I've ever watched.
I'm going to relate it for us Philly fans. 1993 Phillies, like Tom said earlier. That's what it is. Bunch of cast-offs, bunch of just really likable dudes
and that's exactly what
who were out to just make a dude a bunch. Were out to make
and
the
that's
media
what
and
the
the fans eat shit.
2011 Cardinals was. So we are all on the same page there. That's how this is. But as much as I love that team and you guys love the 93 Phillies, this team, there's just nothing that touches this team.
It
From
never
top
will. It
to
never
bottom,
will.
beginning to end, the adversity, the backstories to everybody on this roster. It's just simply amazing.
Someone had asked us earlier on one of the posts, and they said, like, when do you guys truly think you'll appreciate how great of a season it was? And I had to think about that for a second because obviously you can sit here now and say, like, yeah, we appreciate it now. I'll tell you when you truly appreciate it, and I'll mirror it to the Philly situation at the moment. We'll truly appreciate and realize how great of a season this was when the Eagles are no longer good.
Yeah.
Because what do we do with the Phillies every year, guys?
You remember back to
We all
2008.
say, man, how great was 2008.
And
Man, we talk more about the 2008 team than we do the current team.
Listen, and
So
talk
the Andy Reid teams.
yes.
We always hark back on that like we were spoiled.
and listen, take it back even before then. Talk to your parents who were Phillies fans. Before the Phillies won in 08, it was 1980.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Dallas Green, and when Pete Rose, and that whole roster was assembled, everybody always went back to that team, and then the Wheeze kids in 1983, and that was kind of the end of that run. People always went back to that. This is the same thing. It's once it's gone, that's when you start to kind of look back.
Yeah.
See, my answer to that would actually be, I don't know that I'll ever I don't think my brain will ever be as I sit here. I mean, maybe it'll change. Like maybe when I go to the parade, I'll have this revelation, whatever. I don't know if my brain will ever be able to wrap around the enormity of this. I don't know if I'll ever be able to truly appreciate how because the more I think about it, the more the more insane it feels, and the more unreal it feels, the more surreal it feels to me. Like I just still I just keep pinching me because I can't do it. I don't know. I just can't wake up from this dream. It's insane.
What's cool for me is, backstory with these guys. I know Paulie since high school, and me and him used to just talk sports at Paul VI at lunch table and stuff. And I've known Charles since high school, and
It's a different high school.
different high school.
We won't go there. Yeah.
Paul Six, Stratton Highland. Hey, guys, I'm a part of all you guys. It's true. I was a professional new guy back then. But, like, it's cool. So, like, I recently, before we started doing the show, got back in touch with Charles a couple years ago. Even when I didn't see Paulie as much, we on social media and stuff talk sports. And I think now, like, how cool this is for me to take this show in and enjoy this run that we've had since A2D brought us on, to be able to kind of go through this ride together and really sit down and see two guys who I met totally separately, but kind of all of us build this bond and even just that. And then with the whole A2D crew, guys like Ryan and how awesome our show was on Saturday for the round table, and kind of just the electricity that's been going on in this place. And the people who have been in our chats, chiming in week after week. Like, I don't know that I could have ever wished for. When the season started, we weren't a part of the whole A2D family.
Yeah.
We jumped in, I think, after the bye week, right? It was our first week.
After the bye week, yeah.
And I think now, and I'm like,
holy
this
crap.
ride that has happened this season and everything that's happened throughout the season that enhanced this ride for me personally, being a part of A2D's family, talking to these people week in and week out, sitting with my buddies on the couch and with Ryan over here, and really just, like, taking it all in as it came. And it's just been magical for me.
I remember. Go ahead.
No, seriously. Yeah, go ahead.
So it's just crazy because we started the Birds of a Feather Facebook group years ago. What was it, 2-3 years ago?
That's how the show started.
And then you approached me, I think it was like really early in the season, about doing a YouTube show. It was me and you. And, I was like, at that point, I was just thinking about joining the Scouting Academy and all
Charles
that.
just wanted to talk football.
And I just wanted to talk football. And so I was like, I'm on board. Let's do a show. I mean, I was, in my back of my head, I'm like, we might not get a lot of views, but it's something to talk about, And then after 2 episodes, what was it? Greg hit you up about A2D, and it just picked up from there. Like, I remember the phone call you sent me on that Friday night, like, hey, you're telling me this is a big thing. You're telling me all the details about A2D, and I'm like,
and talking to Tom.
This is crazy. And we met with Tom and Greg, and like
Tom was telling me the first day we sat down with him, the Eagles were going to the Super Bowl. I'm dead serious.
That's awesome.
We met at PJ's, and Tom's like, just so you know, we're going to the Super Bowl this year. I'm like, I know, bro.
The whole, like you said, the whole ride has been so surreal, and the fact that we were brought in to A2D. And we just meeting everyone, finally getting to meet Paulie from talking on the Facebook group for so long. And
so I think, Charles, you and I probably interacted more than any two people that didn't know each other in that chat room.
Yeah. It's just crazy. And the fact that all this happened in the Super Bowl season. Like, I'm a big believer in signs.
Sure.
And I think that it was just meant to be.
Speaking of that, so this is actually, and I mean, maybe get your tissues out because this is actually kind of touching. So my grandma, God rest her soul, was a huge Eagles fan. Huge. We have this thing in our family that every time it snows, we think that's like a sign of her telling us everything's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Super Bowl Sunday morning, it freaking snowed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it hit me. I was like, wow. Like my cousin, one of my cousins texted me right away and was like, dude, it's like this is crazy. This is happening right now.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like just like you said, like the universe, like it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts how everything works out. And then not only that, like I text you right after Brian Dawkins when we found out that he was getting into the Hall of Fame. Like,
it's in.
He got snubbed last year, and he gets in this year when the Eagles are in. Like,
I said
what a freaking omen! Like ridiculously good omen that he was getting in. It's just all this, like, talk about freaking stars aligning. Like, for everything that they went through and all the adversity the team faced, there were all these little signs that just, like you said, Charlie, I believe in that shit, too.
Yeah.
It's, like, it's insane. It's totally not logical to believe in that stuff, but I totally do.
You couldn't have written it any better in a story, in a movie.
Impossible.
But it happens. You think about it. Like, I remember years ago when, not even this years ago, even last year, my whole time as an Eagles fan, and in my head, I'm like drawing up scenarios of a dream season, of a season where I think it would be the most dramatic way to have a Super Bowl season, what I'd want, who I'd want to win it. And I still could not have fathomed a season like this. No matter what I could draw up in my mind, in my fantasy of being an Eagles fan, could I have ever drawn up a season like this? Yeah. It's amazing and truly special.
So
somebody real quick asked me because someone's jumping off. Hunter, who's been very active, and thank you, Hunter. I think it might have been his first time chiming in. I'm not sure.
I think he's a new guy.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
Hunter,
his name before.
Hunter, we got great shows all week, brother. If you want to join us again, we're on Tuesday nights at 7:30, or I'm sorry, at 8 o'clock. We're running a little later tonight just because it's Super Bowl week. Normally we're we got the go ahead, but it's Charles, Paulie, Chrome, Ryan's over there. Ryan's doing the ones and twos, so. They wanted us to throw out everybody's name.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take you back to something I said last Wednesday when I introed my show. And last Wednesday, the date, which I believe was January 31st, I believe.
Correct.
If I'm remembering correctly. So 3 years ago to that date, so January 31st, 2015, it was my first show here. It was my first show on A2D. And I remember the whole premise of the show, we were previewing Patriots versus Seahawks. And I remember ending that show saying, it's great for the Seahawks, it's great for the Patriots, but maybe one day I'll sit in this studio previewing an Eagles Super Bowl, because at that time it didn't look like the playoffs were even in reach. And it's so perfect that 3 years later to that exact same date, I'm sitting on that couch previewing an Eagles Super Bowl, and then we win the freaking thing. And I'll take you back to when you remember this. I did like the whole public service announcement before the Eagles played the Falcons, when there were so many people on Twitter and Facebook saying, if the Eagles don't win the Super Bowl, the entire season will be a waste of time. Remember when I was getting all fired up about that?
Yeah.
And it was stupid.
Exactly. And it holds what I said back then even holds more truth now, because like you talked about, when you guys joined A2D, it was absolutely perfect timing. It was great. I'm not going to call ourselves more than fans, but, for example, I know, from August till the second the Eagles season is done, my life is the Eagles. That is it. Yep. My life is structured around them. That is it. I do not have a social life.
Right.
It's literally Eagles first, everything else second. To where being able to come on, in the studio, whether I'm sitting over here behind the boards, whether I'm sitting on the couch in front of the camera, being able to talk to the people in this room, the people in the chat, how many people have we met because of this team? Not because of this platform, not because of the Sixers or anything else. It's because of the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah. If the Eagles did not exist, we would not have met all of you. For example, Foolish Demon said, he found us a week ago. So glad he found us. There's guys like T2B Ballin that said, the year that I started chiming in on A2D, they won a championship. And he was joking around saying, do I deserve credit? Or, is it a coincidence? And it's so funny because
it's like the story where I told you with me and Charles, where we were out. That was the Atlanta game.
Yeah.
Yes.
We met.
And the second half, we had one of our viewers came over and asked, "Hey, you guys are Birds of Feather." I didn't even think of A2D. I was thinking the chat that we had, because people had added their friends. I thought, and I'm like, oh, and he said, oh, I watched you guys on A2D. And then he started telling me some of his content. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. That's the cool stuff. Like you're saying, meeting people too from the chat.
I've had 3 people. It's all at the same place, where I get my hair cut. 3 different people mentioned to me, they would come up to me oh, you're the radio guy, right? I'm like, yeah, and we would talk Eagles just randomly, and it's so crazy that because of this team, it would spark conversations with complete strangers, people would know. And I'm not kidding. I know it's cliche for people to say it because it's oh, family first, platform first, and I know it's cliche because so many people say it, but I genuinely mean whether you chime in just for the first time today or you've been chiming in since I've been here for 3 years, that's these people on the chats on both YouTube and Facebook and our site, that's a second family. That's
family.
When Tom and I talked the other day and we were how all of these different pages have names for their fan bases, for Barstool, the Stories, for example, they're we call them the family, and they are literally a family. Mm-hmm. Like I said, everyone that takes the time to chime in here, they could be doing so many other things, but they take the time to come spend time with us, to join the conversation. all of that stuff. And all I'm trying to say is, and I'll say it tomorrow and I'll continuously say it, words can't describe how lucky I am to be able to share moments with people I don't even know, that I'm literally looking through a camera talking to, people that are sitting in this couch. How lucky I am as an Eagles fan, as a person, to have the privilege and the opportunity to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Words can't describe it. I'll never shut up about it. So I'm going to shut up now.
And you're absolutely right. You know, we come in and we see, you know, we get our new listeners and viewers, and we get the people who return week in and week out. And it really is. You absolutely put it perfectly. It's a privilege to share it, and it is. Yeah. It's the family. We talk about it all the time. Family talk, you know? Mm-hmm. That's what we have, guys. We have family talk here. And to be able to share this moment with guys like this, with guys here at the studio, with the men and women who participate every week, all we can say from Birds of a Feather and from A2D in general is thank you, guys. Thank you for an awesome season. Mm-hmm. Thank you for wonderful conversation that we are going to continue to have. And I want everybody to know that we are celebrating this beautiful moment with everybody else out there. God, here we go.
Go ahead, Charles.
My last point I want to make before we close, because I know we're running late. I was having an argument with one of my friends who was a Cowboys fan.
No, you were having an argument.
Yeah. He was getting on me because I kept saying, like, you know, we won the Super Bowl. You know, we're on top of the world. He's saying, oh, you mean they? You mean they? You're not we. You didn't play on the field.
Oh,
you know, you weren't on the team.
Stupid douchey stuff, right?
I'm one of those that completely disagrees with his point of view. It is we. For one, I don't want any Eagles fans that if out there, if people get on you for saying we, don't let them. Because for one, the team would not be anything without the fans. We if you want to go into logistics, we pay for everything. Like, without us, there would be no team. Second of all, there is no any fans in here in this area, South Jersey, Philadelphia, in our area that are fans of outside teams. They don't understand this. They will never understand this. There is a camaraderie and family, like you said, when it comes to us being here with each other. We are the most. I honestly believe it, and I know we are the most passionate fans in the city. We ride and die with this team. It is a religion to us. It means the world to us, and that's why you have videos of all of us crying our eyes out, all of us putting our heart and soul into this. It's not just a game. It's not just a sport. This is our life. This really is our life. And any fan of an outside team that wants to criticize us for saying we won or anything like that will never, ever, ever, ever understand that.
Hey, listen, even our boy David Roscoe, a Rams fan, I get mad now at this point when he doesn't chime in with a Rams comment.
Yeah, he was in earlier talking. I think he switched to NBA. He's like, what do you think of the deadline? What do you think of the deadline?
But listen, we got our fans of other teams, too.
Absolutely.
We talk national stuff. And, again, it's not just tonight. It's all week on this station. It's fantastic conversation. We talk local. We talk, national stuff. We welcome fans of all kinds, and you're all part of the family.
There's a couple things I have to read from the chat, and then the one thing I want to continue on your point, because I was gonna mention at the end of the show, regardless of what you guys were talking about. So, TTB Ballin chimes in. Well, first off, so Renee said, if you guys need a female Eagles face on the show for a segment, I'm your girl. Absolutely, Renee.
Renee, open invite, sweetheart. We got a spot on the couch ready for you. We will reserve that spot anytime you want to get on the show.
Absolutely.
You just let us know ahead of time.
Todd Pomack said, if you guys need a black guy, holler at your boy.
Yes.
I'd love to have these guys on.
I love that.
Guys and gals.
Renee said, this show is bomb diggity. LOL, remember that phrase? We will, Renee. We'll remember
Absolutely. Oh, just chime this in, too. Bob Hartman said, I told Tom we need an A2D family float or section at the parade.
Absolutely.
Damn right.
There's going to be an A2D Army, both staff and fan base, showing up in Philly.
Absolutely.
I can promise you that. And then TTP Ballin says, you guys – let me say something about TTP. And there's a lot – there's a few like him. But TTP was one of the first to really chime in consistently on YouTube.
TTP, before we joined here, and I was just a listener, even before Greg approached us about meeting with you guys, he was one of the guys I always remembered his name chiming in on all the shows.
He was one of the first to where I remember having conversations
TTP,
with Tom
you rock,
and the guys on my show, and I would be like, oh, my God, there's a chat? There's a chat because, like, at the beginning, you know, like we were saying, like, oh, there's a chat, like, you know what I'm saying? And then we would start. At TTP, my point is, he was one of the first, and he was one of the first regulars, I could say. You know, there's others obviously, but he's one of the guys.
TTP, I'm assuming that's trust the process, right?
Trust Absolutely. The process.
So I'm gonna ask him. You know, how you feeling about the possibility of Tyreek Evans being a Sixer?
Can we not get into
anyway?
That?
Go ahead.
He said,
we'll
"You
save
guys."
That for off-season
he said, "You guys really have a unique platform here because you provide the opportunity for everyone's opinions to be heard. Your channel is going to grow massively. I guarantee it, especially after the Super Bowl win." And TTP, you get it because you know, that's something Tom has preached for years. I preach. We've all preached for years. It's that, you know, we're not trying to be the people on the dial on the big name platforms because they do it one way and it's their way, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to do it your way as the consumer, as the viewer, because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, you take the time to watch us. You take the time to help us, whether it's sharing a post, liking a post, dropping a subscribe, which, by the way, if you're not subscribed, please do. You know, chiming in with a question, all that.
Well placed hit there.
Because of you guys, we wouldn't be here without you guys. Like you said, Charles, the Eagles wouldn't be a thing without the fan base. A2D wouldn't be a thing without the family. You understand? Mm-hmm. Because I've always said, without the fan base, without the family, we'd be sitting in here talking to a camera and just having the conversations amongst ourselves. And that is just real talk.
Yep.
That's what you get here, real talk.
Yes, exactly. Zill Jones said, "Bro, where did you get that hat from?" I believe he's talking to
Modell's.
you.
In Center City, Modell's, they
Sweet
still have
snapback.
a bunch. But I think you can also get it online. But I had to go to the Modell store because I wanted to wear it for the parade on Thursday.
Todd Womack says, "Very true. This was my first year, and I was looking for a platform to talk Eagles football, and I thank you guys. I love every show you guys have. I appreciate it." And like I said, you know, guys like Todd Womack, guys like, you know, girls like Renee, obviously, Sixers JT.
Yep.
You know, there's so many. Foolish Demon, who's a newer guy. Tony Montana, who
So
he still didn't
damn
confirm if his 9-year-old grandfather is Philadelphia Phil, but we still love you, Tony. You know, there's so many people.
So many.
And it's only going to get bigger. And that's just so exciting to me.
Yeah, thank you guys again for being a part of it. And I want to say here, Bob Hartman asked where we're going to be for the parade. I don't think we know yet. Charles is going to be up by the Art Museum.
Yes,
so
guys, seriously,
he says he's going to be by the Art Museum. So if you're there, Bob, you can at least look for Charles. He's going to
hit
be
me
up
up.
by the Art.
I'm winging it completely. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
I will be I will be camping out like early, like 3:00 in the morning at the Art Museum. So hit me up if you want to meet up. I'm definitely.
I was gonna say, Charles, you should probably like text me and let me know what it's like at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
and I'll plan accordingly.
And I know Bob's been one of the guys who's been watching a lot too. He
100%.
says been watching the platform grow just this season. This time last year, Facebook maybe 12 to 15 viewers. Recently, been close to 30 according to the little eye thing I see on the screen. So thank you guys. Yeah, again, we're getting sappy because we're world champions, and it's been a fun ride, and we wanted you guys to know how much we appreciate you joining us week in and week out. And what I can guarantee you is we are going to continue to bring you awesome content on all platforms of this network, and specifically with our show. You know, we're going to bring it. We're one of the primarily focused Eagles shows. We'll interchange a few things in during the off season, but you know, we got Charles who is going to school with scouting right now and has a whole different view on things. Paulie, who studies the draft. So we're going to definitely prepare you guys in the offseason going into next year.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to continue to bring the fire for you guys here on A2 Day.
And you reminded me of the other, so I thank you because I completely blanked on it. So, and I'm glad you mentioned it. So now that we got a question yesterday, like now that the Eagles are done playing, what are you guys going to talk about? Are you guys going to stop talking Eagles? Were you just guys going to stop completely and pick up next season? Not at all. What we're going to do is, like you said, you guys are going to talk. You know, you guys have your Eagles stuff. Philly, you know, you guys are going to do that stuff. Yeah. And regardless, like my message to anyone that's watching on YouTube and even on Facebook with the poll questions and everything, regardless of the title, say, for example, you see a title about the Sixers or the Phillies or March Madness that's coming up or whatever, or something national. Remember, you can always chime in with a question and recommendations on what you want to talk about. Just because the title says Joel Embiid or Reese Hoskins or Phillies or Sixers or March Madness or anything, remember that you can always ask a question.
One of our best moments was the LeBron question.
Exactly.
That was one of the best moments of the show.
That was Dion. That was Dion Brown threw us that.
And it's funny because I remember he said it like he apologized when he said it. It was like, nah, dude, that might have been the best 5 minutes of airtime.
That was heated.
So just remember,
we got into it. It was good.
We're not here to talk about our agenda. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we will always talk about.
Listen, I could speak for every show on this station. Do we come up with a guideline of stuff we might want to talk about? Sure, but in the end, you guys drive this.
Yep.
So, off season, you want to keep talking Eagles? We'll talk Eagles for 2 hours straight. If you want to chime in with something Phillies, you want to chime in with Sixers, whatever. If you want to talk Cavaliers, if you're a Cavaliers fan, because again,
not too many of those sets tonight, man.
Maybe Cavaliers fans don't want to talk about it right now.
I saw they put up 43 against the Magic and then got their doors blown off the rest of the game by the Magic.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, but we're going to be bringing a lot of different content. So this is A2D is a sports platform for us to talk and for you guys to talk. So we're going to leave it at that.
Yes, sir.
Guys, it has been an absolute pleasure watching this team this season. We're hugging. Ryan, we're air hugging you, buddy.
Air hugging you.
We're air hugging you. Guys, we friggin' did it. We're Super Bowl champions. Thank you, everybody on Facebook, on YouTube, on Periscope, whatever platform you join us on week in and week out. Thank you. We are going to be back next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Check out the rest of the shows here, guys. There's no better music to go out to. But
we're going to stop.
I want to say thank you to Stream Smart for sponsoring the second half of the show. Thank you, Scanzano Sports, for sponsoring the poll question. It's 2 weeks in a row I got away without saying Twitter poll question, by the way. 2 weeks in a row.
What happens when you win a Super Bowl?
I'll tell you what, right? You get it
Everything's turning up.
I turned into Nicky Foles. And obviously, thank you, BMW of Atlantic City, sponsoring the studio here, bmwofatlanticcity.com. Thank you, Gibson Mayer, LLC, our certified public accountant. Make them yours. Thank you guys. We will see you next week.
Thursday.
Again, chime in
Parade.
on everything.
See you on Broad
And
Street.
if we're going to be at the parade, look for us, guys. We'll
Art
be
Museum.
there.
All right, hit me up.
Let's
Seriously.
get an Eagles cheer. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Smell you
Super Bowl
later,
champs.
guys.